Welcome to the Horror Hangout, a podcast where film fans watch the best and worst horror movies of all time and talk about them. My name is Ben Errington, and today I'm joined by regular co-host, Mr.
Andy Conduit Turner. Hello, Ben. How are you?
Hello there. Hello there. I'm good. How the devil are you?
Yeah, I'm good. Shark Week, innit? Just when you thought it was safe to go back in the water.
Just when you thought it was safe to go back into your podcast app, here
Or
we
hang
are,
out back again.
back once again with Bruce. Or is it Bruce's mum?
Or just a relation? Or is it him reincarnated? Who knows?
Is it officially supposed to be something? Is it linked in any way? Or is it literally like, oh, there's another shark?
I'm not sure if we get formal revenge until we get to number 4, Jaws the Revenge. Jaws 3 has a baby shark and a mom shark, doesn't it?
Is that right? I mean,
yeah, I watched it.
I've definitely.
It is.
Oh, you're right. All right. I've definitely seen Jaws 3, but it's been a long time ago. Jaws 3D. I've got some interesting Jaws stuff to discover because I did watch the shark exploitation documentary this week as well.
Of course.
So plenty of little Jaws tidbits. Tidbits? I always get confused when I say that. So Jaws 3D, of course, yes, but there was also a I don't know. I won't go straight into this, but I'll quickly just say it. I'll touch it. I'll put more detail in a little bit later. Jaws 3, People Zero, a National Lampoon, like comedy, third installment in the franchise, was in talks before Jaws 3D became a thing.
Oh, really?
Jaws 3, People Zero. Apparently, there's a script and things, but I think somebody came in and shut it down and said, "Look, listen. We got to make a serious Jaws film, okay? Have you thought about 3D? What about like a fish coming towards your face or an eel or like whatever 3D stuff, isn't it? There's not much shark 3D stuff.
There's a big we begin the film Jaws 3 with like a big sort of sturgeon's head after Jaws.
That's it.
After Jaws 3 bites it in half. This fishy head just comes towards the screen and it's like,
can you imagine going to the cinema and being like, I can't wait to see what this Jaws 3D's got to offer. There's going to be sharks. There's going to be like explosions. There's going to be loads of mad shit happening. And the first thing you see is like a fish's head just slowly bobbing towards you.
Bobbing at you. Yeah. And the big 3D moment in Jaws 3D, there's a spear gun moment fired by Dennis Quaid, who is what the little boy in this one grows up to be. Not the little boy, the older teenage boy. Yeah. This one grows up in Jaws 3 to be Dennis Quaid, of all people.
Oh, wow.
But the big seminal moment of 3D in that one is in the end of the film, spoilers if we ever do that this film as an episode, is after Jaws 3 gets blown up, his titular Jaws 3 get blown in 3D towards the camera. They come right out at you and then come back.
Where's Brody in Jaws 3D?
He's just not there. He's dead in number 4, I think, but they talk about him and just say, I feel like he hates it.
He bloody to be fair, he's probably moved away, hasn't he? I feel like all the PTSD he's got in Jaws 2, like I feel like it's going to be even worse in Jaws 3. I feel like he'd still be there trying to do his job, even though he officially did get sacked in this film. He'd still be trying to do his job. He'd be up on that tower morning, noon, and night.
As soon as you see any bluefish, you'd be firing your gun at the sea.
Yeah. It's just a school of bluefish. Make it all fucking die.
We'll talk about how he does some. He's like the Last of Us. He's doing some crafting. When he takes his special bullets that he makes.
Oh yeah! Oh my god! What kind of tipped bullets?
Cyanide tipped bullets.
Wow.
Yeah, we'll cover that in a little bit. But yeah, I talk about how petty I would be if I was Brody as well in that one. I'd go for that mayor straight away.
Oh yeah.
Always come back to you after you've resigned.
After you've resigned,
do it and then resign.
Mayor, you were insistent that the beaches stay open not that long ago. How many years ago? What is it? 1978. This film. That feels kind of insane. In my head, the Jaws sequels came a lot later than Jaws, but only 3 years later. That's kind of crazy.
Jaws 3 is 1983.
Oh wow, okay.
Yeah.
Because I was looking into other sort of films that were off the bat. Because obviously, one big discussion is that Jaws is like the first official summer blockbuster. So in a way, Jaws 2 is the first big cash grab sequel.
Yeah.
But some things got there quicker, like Orca, the movie that was released in 1977. And yeah, there were
Moby
lots
Dick,
obviously.
that was a book a long time before.
Bloody hell. Hang on a minute. How has Moby Dick been written before Jaws? Disgraceful. Yeah, so I mean that was my only question regarding this is like how is there another shark turning up? And I was kind of annoyed that it didn't get discussed. Like, what are the chances of there being two bloody sharks? Like, what's going on? And someone could have a throwaway line could have said, maybe it was that shark's wife.
Yeah, just his mate. Or maybe
Just
he
his
came
mate.
back. It's never made expressly clear.
Yeah. Cause well we do kind of the shark is kind of like a Scarface,
That's
Harvey
because
Two Face.
it's because he gets his face burnt off in an early scene, though. That's okay.
Yeah. Shark's getting absolutely humiliated in these films. But to be fair, Brody now he's on a spoilers for this film, but he's got 2 for 2, taking on great white sharks and murdered them. I mean, I don't know about you. I've never murdered a great white shark or any
No,
shark.
never. And he does it despite the number of cigarettes he has. So
Oh
many
my god,
cigarettes.
he's absolutely he chain smokes around the breakfast table like an
Yeah,
absolute beast.
his wife, Mrs. Brody, says that's your bloody third one. And you know what? Any other day, especially a man of his time, you wouldn't think much of it. Except he's just having his breakfast OJ. He's 3 down in the morning.
3 down, three durries. Wait, is that what you say? Durry.
Yeah, get a couple of durries, punching a dart,
Punching a dart.
get the old coffin
First thing in
nails
the
in.
morning. What an absolute animal. It's no wonder he's got like a, well, as I say, he's got a death wish. He hasn't. He just, for a man who seems to be genuinely terrified of sharks, he doesn't half end up in the water with them a lot. And I mean, that is something we need to discuss in this film when we get into it, is how easy people tend to just fall in the water.
Oh,
Oh,
it's like
God!
like an episode of Total Wipeout out there. Literally everything's slippery.
It's exactly like that. Okay,
Um,
so we will get
yeah,
into it, and of course, it is Shark Week. We've covered Jules before on the show. We've covered Deep Blue Sea as well, a long time ago on the show, with you as well, Andy. Don't know if we've ever covered any other shark movies. I'm sure we've covered like aquatic.
should we have a little aside? I mean, if we were the type of musical talents that would record segment jingles, we would, but we aren't. So, um,
We should.
an unmusical interluded segment on your favorite shark movies.
Oh, okay. I mean, have you got any? Have you got some planned, or have you just hit me with it?
Off the top of the dome, you can have a few seconds I can fill if you need a moment
Okay.
to have a quick
Off the top of
gander.
the dome, Deep Blue Sea for me has always been up there.
Oh yeah,
It was the first DVD I owned, so it's kind of like a special place in my heart where like I watched it obviously way more than I would any other film just because I had it on this brand new format DVD, which I loved. I think The Shallows is good with Blake Lively stuck on
yeah.
a
Like the
little
show,
island.
still at the cinema, I
And
think.
yeah, another shark with a vendetta in a way, big scary shark, and again, it kind of single location sort of thing as well, which I think works well. Obviously, her husband Ryan Reynolds did it in Buried.
Buried.
Is that right?
Yeah,
Yeah. So
he was dealing with the power of the earth, though not.
Power of bloody earth, not the water. I gave the Meg a rewatch, and you know what? Great fun. Great fun. Really looking forward to the Meg 2. I don't know, all the things like 47 meters down and open water and the reef. I think they're kind of like a different sort of film where the tension builds from, like, they feel like, I guess they feel a bit more realistic, don't they? The tension builds from what you don't see rather than sharks rising up out of the sea like that. I think they're good enough, those sort of films. I guess is that kind of it. The thing is, like, there are loads of shark films, obviously, but how many really good? I mean, even recently, The Black Demon, which I think even the trailer looked pretty good, but super disappointing. And things like Sharknado and Mega Shark
I'll throw out
and
a couple for you.
Sharktopus. Okay.
I'll throw out a couple for you that you might want to consider. I mean, you can't beat the ones you already mentioned. Things like Deep Blue Sea, a genuine delight. Tom Jane, Ladies Love Cool James.
Hell
Yes,
yeah.
get in there, those guys.
Smart sharks, sharks that can swim backwards.
Do all the things. Takes
Yeah.
everyone to do it. I saw Shark Bait not long ago, but the teenagers in that were so thoroughly unpleasant that you're on the shark side.
Oh.
Let's see what else. Having a quick scroll through. We'll see the
Oh,
ones that.
I think I remember Shark Night. Now I'm looking at this.
Oh,
I
is
don't.
Shark Night like it's filmed in Shark Week, and then there's like a serial killer that's got various sharks. Is Shark Night 3D?
I think so. Yeah.
Yeah, Shark Night 3D. I saw that at the cinema. That's a
Yeah.
bonanza. So spoilers for Shark Night 3D. It's kind of a serial killer whose
Mm.
weapon is sharks,
Like a
and he's
James
getting
Bond
them.
villain.
Yeah, and he's like unleashing all these sharks, and they even use those. There's a good scene with like those cookie cutter sharks. They're quite small,
Oh,
but they've got like little, well, like biscuit cutter out of things, and they take big circles out of you.
bloody
Some
hell.
yeah, so yeah, that's actually it may have terrible effects. I haven't seen it beyond the first time, so maybe it doesn't hold up, but that
Yeah.
was pretty fun. And there's another one which is oh, is it like Mega Shark versus Mecha Shark or something like that?
Oh wow. Okay.
Mecha Shark is the goodie. It's got almost kaiju like principles to it, and I think it stars possibly Tiffany of I think We're Alone Now fame
Oh wow.
and Tilk Tilk from Stargate SG-1 slash Kratos.
Oh wow. Oh wow. Okay. Okay. I can
Yeah,
imagine that being a nice matchup. Shark versus Kratos.
yeah, and he's in the Mecha Shark. They're driving it, so
Oh my god.
that's quite a time. I do like even a bad shark movie though. But
Have you
yeah,
ever seen Bait? 2012's Bait?
Bait's really good. It's an Australian one, and they're stuck in a supermarket. There's a mega tsunami,
Oh
and
my
everyone
god.
gets stuck in a supermarket. It's got good sort of Piranha 3D energy to it. It's quite fun. And like there's people, so they're stuck in a supermarket, but all the streets have been awash with seawater,
Yeah.
including some sharks that are like in the sort of supermarket that they're trying to get through. It's got
The
some good ideas in
tagline
it.
the tagline is clean up on aisle 7.
Yeah.
And there's like
Yeah,
some
watch
legs.
watch Bait. I'm
Yeah,
pretty
right.
sure last time I checked, by saying this, it will disappear from the platform, but it was on Netflix last time I looked. That's where I watched it.
Yeah. I've never seen that. So, and I do like a shark movie, but I think that's the thing. It's one of those genres where the quality levels you can only there's only a handful really that you would say are absolute straight up classics. Then you got like the super entertaining films, probably not great films, and then there is a lot of fluff. There's a lot of naff ones. Yeah, and I mean, I guess this does jump into a piece of horror news, and also what we've been watching. But I'll call it a piece of horror news. Is the fact that the shark exploitation documentary is out now on Shudder. I gave it a watch. You know me, love a documentary. I just love a good
Not
documentary.
long
This
enough
was
for you, though, I heard.
not long enough. Standard documentary length, not 8 hours. Disappointing, of course. I could have easily watched 8 hours of this. However, 90 minutes suffice. Did suffice. And this is kind of like from the whole history of shark movies and all the different trends there have been over the years. Straight up rip-offs of Jaws and then different sort of other aquatic animals, things where they're definitely taking a page out of Jaws's book, but they're different beasts. Grizzly bear, alligator.
But so did Alligator get a mention? Recent watch.
Alligator got a mention, yeah, recent watch. And then of course all the way through to like the sci-fi channel movies, Mega Shark, Giant Octopus, all the Sharknado stuff. And just what the future of the genre could be as well. Just really fascinating watch. Loads of filmmakers involved. Filmmakers that I didn't necessarily realize were involved in the making of certain films as well. Some big names. Really, really interesting documentary. Highly recommend it. And of course, Jules and Jules 2 get a nice chunk of discussion. Didn't see Michael Caine in it once though, which I was disappointed about. I was like, surely Michael Caine's got to be in this in a minute. No,
Isn't it a very
didn't turn up.
famous quote? Obviously, Jaws: The Revenge, the fourth Jaws movie, heavily panned critically, but and I know that people have brought it up with Michael Caine himself at some point, and I know famously his quote on that is
Yeah.
you know what? But it paid for my mom's house, so
The faithful mums, and she loves the film. She watches it all the time.
yeah, good on you. I am going to watch as I've done. Again, jumping into what we've been watching, I also watched Jaws 3 directly after I watched this week's film.
So
And
that is an actual shark in Jules of Revenge that is trying to get revenge.
yes, in
Yeah.
Jaws the Revenge, as far as I remember, it is people directly related to Chief Brody that this
Yeah.
shark is after, and it's getting
How would he
him.
know? How would he know? How would he know anything about that? Taste it in the blood.
Yeah. Sharks are all about blood. They can taste the DNA.
They've literally killed off Martin Brody, dead from a heart attack from the start of that movie. It looks like.
Yeah. I was wondering if he dies from a heart attack or whether the shark gets him. But yeah, he's gone in that one. So he's
Wow.
after Mrs. Brody and the kids.
Ah, I mean, really difficult to have a vendetta against someone when you are exclusively in the sea and the people you've got a vendetta against are all pretty much always on land. You just go, let's just move somewhere else. But no, inexplicably, what seems to happen, they always end up in the bloody water.
Yeah, stop getting coastal jobs.
Stop getting coastal jobs, yeah. Um, but yeah, so as I said, I rewatched the Meg. I don't know. I'm not really doing what we've been watching, but I'm just mentioning the Meg because the Meg 2 comes out just next month. The Meg 2. I think it's just called Meg 2 The Trench.
Wasn't that
But
meant to
yeah,
be
I think
Aquaman 2? The trench? Or
yeah,
was that a
possibly.
separate? Yeah, either way, there's a
Hey,
trench in
trenches
one.
everywhere. I think this. I don't know. I know we had a little chat about it on Twitter, but I think it's a great like blockbuster B movie. It is unbelievably ridiculous. So I watched it with Charlie. She'd never seen it before, and I loved seeing her reaction when there was like a reveal. I guess you should say. I don't want to spoil the Meg, but there's a moment where you think, "Oh yeah, that's good," and then suddenly you're like, "Whoa, I didn't expect that." So yeah, I think it's good. Jason Statham probably the most self-aware he's been in any film since Crank, maybe. Like he's proper dialing
Yeah.
up his Jason Stathamness
You
to a
can't you
ridiculous
can't go
degree.
wrong with Jason Statham on form. He's a good, like, quite self-aware comedic action
Yeah.
actor. What I didn't know about him until very recently, competitive diver.
Oh, okay. What like high diving that sort of thing, or
Represented UK in the Commonwealth Games
oh my god.
as a
Well, so
diver.
not like a deep diver, but like
No,
a
like a
high
high
diver.
diver, like
Okay.
Tom Daly style, doing some flips and doing some poses as you go into the pool.
Yeah. I do like there's a moment in the Meg 2 trailer where we see him what looks like put his foot up and like stop the shark from biting him with his foot. Now, even with a great white shark, you might be like, wow, that's pretty nuts. But a megalodon.
With
But
the
again, this
Meg,
with the Meg, yeah, this is another one though where you're just like, what are we supposed to just go? Oh, there's another Meg, and this kind of makes more sense, obviously, because they opened up some sort of like pathway, didn't they, from the deep, the very
yeah,
very deep.
all the Megs finding their way up.
All the Megs are getting their way up. Yeah. Okay. So it is Shark Week. We're celebrating. We're talking about Jaws too. I'll do a little bit more of horror news now. Then. So, this week we had a reveal, and it was weird because only a couple of days before this, I was talking about The Exorcist, and somebody said to me, "Oh, it's called The Exorcist, da da da, isn't it?" I was like, "Oh, I didn't even know it had a title." And I didn't. They should. And I looked at Imaginary Watch and said they should get on with releasing some stuff, a
Yeah,
first look or a trailer or something. And lo and behold, this week, 3 official posters for it, but also apparently there's a trailer in cinemas showing before Oppenheimer. I've
okay.
heard. So obviously nothing online just yet, and I didn't. There was like a description, someone describing what happened in the trailer before. I'll avoid that. Don't want to see that. So obviously, yeah, David Gordon Green relaunching the Exorcist franchise this Halloween. It's the 13th of October. It's going to be arriving in theaters. Usually when a poster comes out, a trailer will be arriving very soon as well. So Leslie Odom Jr. will play the father of a possessed child. Desperate for help, he tracks down Ellen Burstyn's character, obviously the mother of Regan in the original Exorcist. So I don't know what that means. Does that mean that Regan is dead? Possibly. I
Saving it
don't
for the
know.
sequel.
Saving her for this bloody sequel, aren't they?
But then
Um,
they'll be trying to exercise her, and then
yeah.
the guy's going to be losing his faith. It's all going to go wrong, and then you're here. Regan in a regular non-possessed voice, say on your left, and a little portal will
I
open
knew
up.
you were gonna, I knew you were gonna say that. On your left.
What?
Your mother sucks cocks in hell. Oh, unpossessed version. Okay.
Yeah, so that's actually she'll come back, or maybe she's like fully assimilated and she can use
Oh
devil
God.
powers.
Yeah. Did you watch the TV show?
Nah.
Okay. Well, it got cancelled, so I don't really worry about spoiling things too much. Obviously, Gina Davis plays a character called Angela Rance, and it is revealed later, quite far into season 1, not season 2, season 1, that she's Regan.
Okay.
So I think so. Now I'm saying it. I'm pretty sure that's right. I kind of liked the series. However, it felt like a loose script, not a great story to be stretched across like however many episodes there were, 10 or 12. Do you know what I mean? It struggled after about 5 and 6. You're like, okay, what else you got for me? After a good opening, I think it had some really good marketing as well. Like some of the posters and trailers and visuals were really good. So yeah, but I'm definitely looking forward to something new because we haven't had anything new since Exorcist: The Beginning, right? Which is 2005 with one
It's
of
been
the
a while.
Skarsgårds, and I rewatched that not recently, but definitely just a couple of years ago, just to remind me if it was bad, and it was pretty bad, you know.
Yeah, I've taken in so little of the Exorcist. If I'm brutally honest, risking all kind of horror credibility here, I don't think I've seen the full original Exorcist in uninterrupted chronological order. I've
Oh
definitely seen
wow,
the
okay,
start, and I've definitely seen the end. I'm pretty sure I've seen all the bits in the middle, but I don't think I've seen it in a single sitting.
Fright Fest,
It's on a special, the version you
Flight
didn't
Fest,
see at Fright Fest. Yeah, this year.
the the version you didn't see. Um, yeah, looking forward to that. Well, that's the thing, isn't it? It's like it's one of those horror franchises that hasn't got loads of sequels, and some of the films are sort of thought of as being middling. Like the second one's not great. The third one is great, but in a completely different capacity. And then, of course, the beginning was just, yeah. I don't know. I think it's one of those franchises where it works well when it's like stripped right back.
Mm-hmm.
Is most basic. I think you try and go too crazy. I recommend I don't know if you read the book though. I recommend checking out the book
I've read
and
it.
and the book Legion as well, which is what the third film is based on. I had a great time with both those books. Like some of the most effective like horror novels, including like I think Jules was up there as one of the first um horror novels that
That
I
I
that
have
I
read.
read. Yeah,
We might have to discuss a bit of some changes between the story that we get in the films and the story we get in the books when we get
oh,
into the film. Because
you're
actually,
definitely gonna have to
books
remind me.
books, I would say the shark perhaps not the biggest villain.
Okay. I
Um,
remember reading the original Jules, Peter Benchley. That description of a dead body, I think was the first time I'd ever like really thought about stuff like that. And it really, really affected me. I remember being like, oh God, is that what happens? Yeah, oh God. Like I remember just like obviously not asking anybody, like genuinely the thoughts in my head for the first time. I mean, similar in a way to Barbie, which has just come out this week. Everyone's going crazy, obviously, for Barbie and Oppenheimer. Barbie, who begs the question, have you ever thought about death? I think for the first time after reading Jules at the age of what? Oh, I don't know. Maybe, maybe like 9 or 10. I think those were the first times I started properly thinking about, oh God, death. It's inevitable and it's coming for all of us.
caused by sharks. Holy
Caused by
shit.
sharks as well. And I was always like getting in the sea in any sense. I was always it was always there, that thought of sharks. And because of the book and because of the film.
Well, there you go.
There you go.
You got anything else in news before we move on? I know it's a
Yeah.
scattershot approach this morning today.
It's an incredibly scattershot approach. I've got two more bits of news and we'll fly through that. So, Pet Cemetery Bloodlines is a Pet Cemetery prequel movie, which is premiering in October as well. What a big October is going to be this year on Paramount Plus. And so we got a first look at that, including the cast, which includes David Duchovny as
Oh,
the and Pam Grier as well. Oh, it looks like a bloody heavyweight cast, but it's in 1969. So it's basically Judd's prequel movie. So he's a kid, I think, in it, or a teenager at least. He
Baby Judd.
dreams of baby Judd, dreams of leaving Maine behind, but soon discovers sinister secrets buried within, is forced to confront a dark family history that will have kept him connected to Ludlow. So him and his childhood friends against an ancient evil. What I do like about Judd, I don't want to say actually not what I don't not what I like about Judd. Well, I'm confused by Judd. Hang on a minute. Don't go using this pet cemetery. It's terrifying. You never guess what happens. It's terrible. Don't do it. All right. Shall I not do it then? I'll show you how to do it, but make
This
sure
is so
you
know
don't do it.
exactly what not to do. All right.
Yeah. What the fuck?
It's
I
quite
can't
difficult to do it because I'd naturally. I mean, fair enough. With the cat, you might have buried the cat as a pet cemetery,
Yeah.
but when your wee boy gets absolutely creamed by a big old truck.
Oh yeah. Cream.
I mean, to be honest, you could bury him in a glass. The state of him. But like, but
You should have done because he comes back.
yeah.
Sometimes dead is better, mate.
Just often in this town.
Does it not strike you as a prequel though that, and I hate to repeat myself, Andy, you know I do, I really do. However, is a prequel where the thing in mention it already exists. For God's sake, it's like
you have to remind me of Pet Cemetery. Is it like a native like
possibly,
curse
yeah,
on the land, like a
something like that,
like
native,
like
curse.
Aboriginal people's curse on the land, or like a thing that they probably use nicely?
Yeah,
but
it sounds like it, doesn't it?
Corrupted, and people burying their cats in there makes them come back wampy.
Why not just give us some sort of understanding of how it came to be and maybe why it's gone a bit wrong?
The problem there is, I guess, if it's based in like
that's true.
sort of First Nations people, they wouldn't be able to hire like white actors to be in it. So they'll be thinking, where's the bloody money in that?
Where's the bloody money now? We need David Duchovny. Can't we just get David Duchovny to do it? No, you can't do that anymore. Oh, bloody hell.
Yeah.
So even though I'll look forward to it and I like David Duchovny and I like Pam Grier and sure, great. However, I do also get that little inkling for, and not every film needs it. You know, we've already experienced it with the Alien franchise where we don't need every tiny little detail. But with the Pet Cemetery stuff, I'm like, oh, that's quite interesting. I'd be interested to see how that came to be, as I was about Valak, the nun, in The Nun. But yeah, I didn't get that. Just the nun. How did that nun come to be then? Well, basically, you start off right. We got the nun, the ghost nun. No, yeah, but what happened? What was she before that? Don't worry. Don't bloody worry.
Always.
Okay. Last piece of news. Probably going to be quite interesting for you, Andy. Did you know that they've bloody gone and remade Witchboard?
Have they?
Did you know about
favorite
this?
recent watch? I didn't.
I didn't know about this.
Witchboard
either.
1, fine. Witchboard 2, fucking bonanza.
It's on the way, and you never guess who's directing it.
Who?
Chuck Russell, director of Dream Warriors and The Blob.
My goodness. I imagine because he's a man who's still alive, it's not the 1950s Blob either. It's the 1980s Blob.
Exactly. Yeah, sorry. I should have said that. So it's his return to horror. The trailers debuted today at SDCC's Bold Voices of Horror panel. So I don't know if it's online yet. Releasing in 2024, and yeah, it's a straight up remake of the 1986 movie.
My goodness. Bearing in mind, anyone who's missed did a brief, very, very brief, so I don't want to spoil anything. I did a very brief Witchboard bite-sized episode over on our Patreon, and then I watched Witchboard 2 and said, I'm not saying a word about this. We must do a double episode on Witchboard movies because
double Witchboard.
My goodness, that second one is a lot of fun.
Which board? This board.
It'd be ever so confusing, especially if you're a ghost and you're using the Witchboard. You can only write out. Actually, less confusing for them because they can spell out what they mean. So you spelt it with a T, so that's all right.
That's absolutely fine. Yeah, I got it.
No misunderstanding at all. Actually, thank you.
Cheers. Thanks for being clear. I mean, that is it really for horror news. Quite an intense week.
I've got one little bit of horror news for you.
Very nice,
Ben. Sadly,
hit me with it.
Not some good horror news, I'm afraid. In many ways, quite bad. So the upcoming FX Alien series is reportedly not impacted by the strikes and is continuing with primarily non-union, well, entirely non-union represented actors and so on. So
Right.
short-sighted version of that is, oh, are we going to get this sooner on schedule? However, you've got to be supportive of those people that are looking for fair wages, be they writers, be they actors. We spoke about it over the last couple of weeks as well. Regardless of what it means to the film's quality, I'm not saying that someone couldn't be a good actor and just not be in a union, especially because it's an American guild that's going through this one. So there are actors that live and work in other countries around the world that are not affiliated, not because they've snubbed it, but because they're not in the country where that guild operates. And of course, in some ways, you would argue for and promote having diverse cast. And actually, would it be interesting to do something with actors from whatever country? But from the short things I've read about this, it's not because it was always planned to be filmed, with a different cast. It is, I understand it's moving forward to be able to not be impacted by these strikes and so on. So not only does that potentially impact the vision of what it was created as potentially, but from a community basis, looking at the arts community, certainly the feedback I'm seeing on the socials is that a lot of people have fairly front and center said, well, that's my interest in something I was really looking forward to. Absolutely canned, which regardless of whether you personally, not just you, Ben, but anyone listening, whether you personally agree with that or not, you do realize that it's going to absolutely magnify any negativity around this. And again, whether you agree with it or not, I do think that some people will object to this. In principle, will they not watch it on principle? Will they? It's probably going to affect the reception this show receives and its critical appraisal. Which obviously, if you want something, you have this rich story and you want to see going on. We know what, from a business point of view, how much of a hair trigger a lot of these networks are on for cancelling a thing right now. It feels like they may be doing their best to kind of doom it. So I'm a little bit disappointed by all those goings on. How about you? I've sprung this news on you. Sorry you had to learn like this.
I don't want to learn like this. I mean, I didn't know that, and I'm just looking at the cast and everything. And I'm a big fan of the franchise, and it's obviously it does tarnish that somewhat. But then, I guess we need to look into I'll look into the ins and outs of it. But if they had that cast backed up, if they had that cast ready to go already, then fair enough. But if not, then it does kind of suck because you're essentially taking someone's job away from them just because they've decided to go on strike, which is not really fair. Not to mean obviously the actors who are in it deserve to work as well, of course, but it's a minefield, really, isn't it?
Yeah, and bearing in mind as well that a lot of unions around the world are, in solidarity, not wanting to press on with, and it's certainly from a writing community point of view that I'm a lot closer to. Same with you. There's a lot of solidarity with people saying, hey, if these people are kind of presenting it with you having an opportunity now, hey, I know you traditionally write for audio or podcasts, or you haven't got one of these screenwriting jobs previously. Why don't we take something that you're working on and try and adapt it?
It's almost tempting if people are getting their big breaks in the middle of this. Like,
it could be tempting for people, but at the same time, you have to think that there's a degree of exploitation in that, like you're effectively being used to try and put pressure on the striking actor. So, oh look, replaceable.
Yeah, of course. Oh yeah, I've seen loads of stuff like that. Like, sorry, there's a squeaky chair going on, just in case you think I'm just
stamping on mice under your desk.
Stamping on mice. Yeah, that's what I was doing. Okay, I guess we should move on to what we've been watching. Although I've kind of mentioned, I've mentioned everything. Sharksploitation and The Meg is the main two things that I watched this week in preparation for this episode. I also did watch Bird Box Barcelona as well. That's a mouthful.
Triple
Triple B.
B's.
Triple B's, and you know what? Oh, it wasn't that great to be fair. And I mean, the
Shan't rush
bird
them.
the bird box as an idea anyway is a bit iffy because I'm almost a bit like, okay, I get it, but at the same time, people want to see things, and I think this film really suffers from not having like a heavyweight actor like Sandra Bullock in the main role. It felt a bit rehashed, felt a bit recycled, felt a bit like Bird Box light, if that makes sense. Like, oh, remember that film Bird Box? Oh yeah, based on a really successful book and one of the biggest streaming films on Netflix when it came out. Do you want to see more of that? Yeah, why not? It's just all kind of a bit naff though. It's like going A Quiet Place, Birmingham. I don't know. You're like,
The
it's not really
metropolitan
showing...
hub better be very noisy.
I'd like to watch that, to be fair. I would like to watch that. It'd be very, very noisy. Oh, bloody hell! I'd love to watch that. This film, not so much. Sometimes it's almost impossible to get into some films, isn't it? Like, you sit there and you're like, I'll give it 30 minutes. I mean, I never stop watching, but yeah, I just couldn't get into it. Just couldn't get into it. And it seemed to replace a lot of the ideology with like some sort of like religion. Everyone's a bit of a religious nut job, and I don't know if it necessarily worked. So yeah, I mean that's it for me.
I mean, if you're going to be religious, Barcelona is the place for it. Got a lovely, lovely cathedral.
Yeah,
La
but not.
Sagrada Familia, beautiful
I
to
don't
go
think
and
people
see.
care about that. People just care about, and there's no consistency as well. Like, there are certain things, rules established by this world that I just don't understand. I still just go, what? But if it affects that person that way, why didn't it affect everyone like that? Well, I don't know. And it never really explains it.
Does Bird Box explain? Like, are there people who can't see in Bird Box that are just loving each day as if it's the last?
Yeah, I think some people like just make themselves blind out of necessity.
Keep your eyes closed.
No, just like jamming I don't know, a cocktail stick. It jams something in their eyes. Loads of people with like their eyes fucked, like ripped out by human hands. I think some people are going around doing it on purpose to people as well. But yeah, there was a bit of a twist. A twist that happens after about 15 minutes that completely altered the way you look at the film, and then another twist that happened a little bit later where you're like, well, yeah, obviously. do you know what I mean? In one of those films where you're just like, well, yeah, what are you telling me that for? I know. I'm watching.
These things that are getting us, they're bad, they are. Oh.
Yeah. They're bloody bad, these things. Who knows?
These are the baddies. What?
Are we the baddies? We've got little skulls on our caps. Are we the baddies? Yeah, looks like it. That's it for me, though.
I've got one more to share with you all this week, then, apart from the things I already mentioned, like extra Jaws. You guys you covered Prom Night recently, right? Both that and the remake.
Yes, indeed.
Those kiddies saying the killers are coming, and then before you know it,
yeah,
revenge.
Pushed out of a window.
Well, take everything you knew about the Prom Night series and throw it in the bin as we get to Hello Mary Lou, Prom Night 2. Or
yeah.
Prom Night 2, Hello Mary Lou.
It's one of those situations as well. It's the Rage 2, Carry 2 again, all over again, isn't it?
Yeah, Carry 2, the Rage 2. So, right, let me set the scene for you with Hello Mary Lou. Right, imagine Carrie, right?
Yeah.
You imagining her?
Is she covered in blood or not?
No. Okay, she's fine while she's alive, except Carrie, not a misunderstood girl pushed to the edge. She's real bad. Her name's Mary Lou, and she fucks all the time. She's all about like
Jesus.
Yeah, she's
empowered,
insatiable. Also dead and is a ghost. She's a ghost now, and she's coming back.
She's a ghost when she's having sex with people.
Oh no, she's having sex with people very briefly, and then she is killed and becomes a ghost with Carrie powers. And then not a couple of years later, many years later, after the kids at her 1950s graduation prom night, are all grown up and have various positions of authority, and their kids are reaching senior year at school.
Oh,
And she comes back to do some carrying as a ghost and some possession of like might of like innocent characters, all sorts of ghostly murders, including an excellent telekinetic like um, locker crush. There's a bit when this
nice.
girl's hiding from locker, and then Mary Lou, prom night 2, like telekinetically crushes the locker that she's hiding in. She
Oh
is
wow, I'm looking at some.
bonkers
Is she all like undead and stuff as well?
sometimes, and then sometimes she just looks like the main girl.
She looks like normal. Okay.
Yeah, she looks like normal, and sometimes she
So
looks
they
like the girl that she is, and sometimes she looks like Mary Lou when she changes
so obviously
possessions.
absolutely no relation to Prom Night the original movie, just the fact it happens on a prom. That they've
No,
given it a
it is the sequel to Prom Night. It is within the canon of that series, but it
yeah.
has no relation to it at all. Michael Ironside as the school
Okay.
headmaster.
This looks pretty good, you know. Would you say it's
You
pretty
know
good?
what? I quite enjoyed Hello Mary Lou Prom Night 2.
Hell yeah. I think I'm gonna check it out. It
Please
can't be
do.
any can't be I mean the original I wasn't a huge fan of, and the remake was weird. Wasn't even really a horror film. It was just like a thriller. But yeah, I'm gonna check it out. I think it's on Shudder, right? Hello Mary Lou.
I already had it ready to go, but I best
Look at
now
that.
that I'd invested in a physical copy because I'd heard good things about it. I'm sure that it will be on Shudder. Just to say, that was unnecessary, Andy.
Yeah. I
Let me
gotta
tell
check
you
it out.
exactly where it's streaming
Well, I
right
think it's
now.
on. If it says it's on Streevy, Freevee, whatever that
Yeah,
is, I think
Freevee
that's
is it's
linked to
linked to
Amazon, isn't it?
Amazon. Yeah, it's on Freevee right now in the UK and the US.
Okay.
Or if you're in the US, you can also watch it on. My goodness, you've got some weird named streaming services. You also watch it on Fubo TV and Plex, or you can buy it on Amazon.
Nice. I'm having a look at your letterbox now.
Yeah,
I'm glad you're logging stuff, because I enjoy looking at people's watch lists, especially. I won't always look at it. I'll save it for the episode to see what you've been watching, so you can give me a nice surprise. But after that, it's a good way of me remembering what you talked about.
what we're going through to make sure it's all there available. I mean, not horror related, horror adjacent, we can say, for the real life horrors that are going to find. I also got round to watching The Flash. Now it's available on VOD.
Oh yeah,
Um, some of those, speaking of bringing the dead back to life in possibly ghoulish ways, like Mary Lou Prom
yeah,
Night 2 does. That's what the cameos in that film are a bit like, isn't it?
yeah. Loads of
Including,
zombies,
yeah,
CGI
including
babies.
yeah, including a man that famously whose life was
Oh
ruined by
yeah,
playing Superman, who then went on to take his own life. Feels really tasteful to put his physical image in this
yeah.
movie for
That kind of
for this
sucks. But
movie. But
and
yeah,
also putting in like a certain actor who didn't even end up playing a certain character,
oh,
which is kind of.
I kind of liked
Oh
that
yeah,
because he really wanted to and is alive to get his permission. So
yeah. I did quite like that as well. But I was also thinking, how many people here in the cinema know that that's a thing? Not that I'm judging, I'm a general film goer, but at the same time, I'm not like standing up at the front going, "Well, I knew who that was. Did anybody else?" Well, yeah, it was. No. Shut up.
yeah.
All
So
right.
that's it. That's it. Just the film of the week. Big old Jaws 2. Hit us with that synopsis.
Here's with that synopsis. Shit. Okay. So, Jaws 2 is a 1978 American horror film directed by Jeannot Szwarc. Directed by Jeannot Szwarc. I mean, I've never read that name out loud before. Szwarc is spelled SZWARC.
Shark, maybe then?
So the sequel, Shark. Are you saying this guy's name is Jeannot
Is
Shark?
actually Shark, yeah.
His surname is Shark. I mean, did they literally just? Can anyone direct this? Well, my name's Jeannot Shark, and I'd like to put forward. Say no more.
You're in.
Say no more. You're in. Sign on the dotted line. What's that?
It's
You're
like
not even a film. You're not
what's
even
this
a film
Shop
director.
Webb doing the Spider-Man film?
Oh yeah, Mark Webb. They've what? You're not even a film director. Do you reckon you could have a go? Because this is too good to be true. It's a sequel to Steven Spielberg's Jaws, second installment in the Jaws franchise, starring Roy Scheider, obviously, Lorraine Gray, and Murray Hamilton. They're all reprising their roles, but no other major roles from everyone. And then a load of bloody teenagers, all with varying degrees of interesting 70s hairstyles. The plot concerns Chief Brody suspecting another great white shark is terrorizing the fictional seaside resort of Amity Island. I'd love it if this was all in his head. Following a series of incidents and disappearances, his suspicions are eventually proven true. Of course they are, because it's called Jaws 2. It's got 5.8 on IMDb, 62% critics score, 39% audience score, 2.7 on Letterboxd. And here are some choice reviews. Graham said, "We're gonna need a better script." 2.5 stars. Kate says, "What if the shark really just wanted to be friends and doesn't know his strength and is sad he keeps accidentally eating people?" 3.5 stars. Casey says, "So this really just amounts to the producer saying, yeah, and then what if there's another big shark? What a payday that would be." 2.5 stars. And Drew M87 says, "A worthy follow-up that keeps the thrills afloat." 3.5 stars.
Like a boat's afloat.
Like a boat's afloat, yeah. So there we go. Have you seen this before?
Many, many times, many years ago.
Many times.
I feel like there was a period where, you know how you'll put the TV on a Sunday and James Bond will be on, or something like that, or an Indiana Jones film. I feel like the Jaws sequels are the 10 o'clock at night ITV2 version of that.
That's The Mummy Returns, isn't it?
Yeah.
The Mummy Returns will be on ITV2 at 10 o'clock at night.
Sometimes you'll get in at night time, not a very late night out. You've not been out until like proper at, but you've just been to the pub or out for a meal, and you get in ready to settle in. You put the telly on while you're making a cup of tea, ready to settle in for the evening and get ready for bed shortly, but not going to bed just yet. And then Jaws 2 is going to be halfway through.
Yeah, and then you'd watch it if it was halfway
You've got just
through.
You've got just long enough to go, which one is this one? How do they get the shark in this one? Okay.
Yeah. I mean, that's all you need to know, isn't it, really? I think, so he's only in 2, isn't he, Roy Scheider? He's only in 1 and 2.
Yeah.
Not in 3D.
Oh, Ben, I'm going to have to call you up because Karen got me the same on this one. Roy Scheider, no N.
Oh, okay.
I've been saying
Roy
it for
Scheider.
years. Schneider.
Not to be confused.
Wrong.
Not to be confused with Roy Lester Schneider or Rob Schneider, apparently.
Yeah.
It says that
Schneider
on his Wikipedia page. Scheider.
Yeah. Karen was like, "There's no N in that." I was like,
"Oh, bloody hell, you've got me there."
Try not to be defensive about it because it's brilliant. No, it is absolutely correct. Listen.
Jaws 1 he was in Jaws 1 and 2. Archive footage uncredited in Jaws the Revenge. Chief Martin Brody. Or if you notice, as the credits went rolled at the end of this film, he was just listed as Brody.
Just Brody.
Brody.
The entire family.
Brody, and then Mrs. Brody, and then Kids Brody. That's what their name is.
Kids Brody 1 and 2.
Shark. And apparently the shark is a woman. What's a weird way of describing a shark? This shark is a bloody woman. This shark is a female. Apparently. Not according to the official Wikipedia, but according to, I don't know, film fans. It's got to be a woman shark, this one. Obviously. Yeah. How'd you know? You just tell, can't you?
Yeah,
it's a micro lipstick on it. It's a microaggressions. We could just tell. So yeah, I have seen Jaws 2, I think, but it's enough time has gone by where I don't remember it pretty much at all. However, I think there is a certain something to be said about this film, whereas sure, there's a lot missing. It doesn't have that recognizable Steven Spielberg like epic tension.
No magic, no little shooting star as you look out over the sea. But then
there's the soundtrack. I'm assuming the score is John Williams.
John Williams score, anyway.
It's a John Williams score, isn't it? So, despite the fact it hasn't got the Spielberg shine, there's still something about it that does feel kind of Spielbergy, and it's got some frills. I think it kind of loses the plot. I mean, quite literally. By the time we get to the point where we're on the sea with all the kids on the boat, I think it starts to drag on a bit. I think it's got it's got quite an interesting start, not nowhere near as strong a start as Jules, of course, and I quite like the middle as well, where Brody is like going a bit nuts and thinking everything's a shark, and he opens the door and a postman's there and he goes, "Ah, shark! Bang, bang, bang!" Uh, I think this is all good, and obviously it feels like it's setting up for something, and the fact that the shark's got like a burned face, a scar face as well, is interesting. And I think I just enjoy spending time on Amity Island with these characters. It kind of feels like a bit of a holiday, doesn't it? Because most of it happens in the middle of the day, doesn't it? Like, there's not much. Is there any nighttime stuff? There's obviously nighttime stuff or first thing in the morning stuff with Jules, isn't there? With the first attack. But this one, it kind of does feel like a bit of a holiday, and then you go, "Oh yeah, there's a shark as well. I forgot about you."
Oh, he's back he's at it again. Oh, she's at it again.
Possibly, who knows? So I mean, I don't remember 3. How does this compare to 3? Is this better than 3?
Yeah, much stronger than 3. Not just the dated effects, and also you mentioned you don't see much at nighttime. Every time they go to look for the shark in number 3, they decide to do it in the dead of night.
But that's horrible.
That'll be hard.
I can't think of anything worse, right, than the sea at night. Not only the sea at night, but knowing that there's a shark milling about. That's impossible, isn't it? That's like just going.
Should we go look for it? Yeah, would it be easy in the day? Yeah, probably. But we've got jobs to do. We've got day jobs.
Is it because the effects were like,
yeah, probably
really show it off.
Easier to do with the lighting.
Because obviously there were a lot of problems with the shark in the filming of Jules, and it was getting waterlogged and just not working in general. Do we know anything about the effects in this film? Did they manage to work out a method of 3 years later of having a big old shark in the sea and not?
I mean, I think they do a lot with this shark, like at certain angles or showing it at certain times when they're like to get the most out of it. Because as you mentioned, the shark does get burned and injured at this point, but then you'd be forgiven for thinking it didn't because you don't see it most of the time. They tend to film from the other side. There's a couple of good
angles. There's a couple of like when you're sort of like it feels like you're sat on the shark's nose. A couple of shots where you're kind of looking down and you look up to see like the shark's point of view. A couple of shots as well where the shark, I think it looks the worst when you see it head on. Apart from that, and also when you cut to like the archive footage of like not archive footage, but like actual footage of a real shark, it just doesn't look anywhere near as big or menacing, does it? You kind of see it in the scene, you go, "What?"
Just normal kind of shark stuff that could be like it is very much like nature photography.
Yeah,
because well, beautiful like strings playing over it.
It just doesn't look the same. And the fact is, we're supposed to somehow believe that there's another shark attacking the same island, but it's also massive and is also like a nutter.
Yeah,
like Bruce.
We may as well begin there with the plot. So we get, I guess, kind of a nice bit of connective tissue to the original. And we see the wreck of a ship, and we see the little thing. It's only the orca from the last one.
Yeah.
So it's the orca from the last one, and there's some not photographers, they're divers principally, but they're taking photographs of the orca.
So obviously, even though Roy Scheider's in it, we haven't got who's the only other surviving guy? Because what's his face? What's his bloody flavor?
Hooper
died. Yeah.
Oh, Quint died. Yeah, he got eaten up.
Quint died. Yeah, that's right. So he got eaten up. So obviously he's not coming back. But where's the other fella?
Well, Matt Hooper, we learn after Brody first suspects there's a shark, he phones Matt Hooper and he goes, "Oh no, he's on a boat in Antarctica, so he's not going to be in this film."
Oh yeah, that's right. I heard that line, but for some reason I didn't hear who they were talking about. I think
so. Hooper as well. Let's bring into it like the major difference in the plot of the book versus the film is that there is more of a connection in the original book. So Hooper was someone who holidayed on the island, on Amity Island, and had a connection with Brody's wife. They knew each other. They dated briefly while he was on holiday on the island where she had grown up there. Or something along those lines. I'm not sure whether she was also a visiting family who then married Brody and ended up staying there. But nevertheless, there was a connection between them. And they bloody sleep together, have an affair during the course of the book.
Oh yeah, of course. Oh my god! Yeah, I think she's
quite
about that.
Again, I'm trying to cover the plot of a book I read probably 20 years ago. But I think they sleep together, but in doing so, she realizes that it's not romantic and he's kind of using her and he's like a bit rough and like he's horrible.
Yeah.
He's not, he doesn't love her or care for her or anything like that. But and then at the end, when it's less clear as to whether the shark has been killed or not, but the ship is sinking, and I believe, if my memory serves me correctly, that there is kind of a pause and it's not entirely clear as to whether the shark is gone, to whether they're going to survive, and whether or not Brody knows that Hooper has slept with his wife, and is he going to fuck him up for it and leave him to be killed?
Yeah. Absolutely none of that, of course, when this film
None of it
opens,
happened.
None of it happened in the first
They
film.
just become jolly good friends. If anything, they bond over going fishing for the shark, and they team up together to destroy it. And the boat, the Orca, it does sink. It sinks to the bottom, which is where we find it in this movie. But unfortunately, it doesn't waste any time. These guys are taking photos of the ship. Before you know it, John Williams has fired up the orchestra. We get that classic Jaws theme, and these divers get absolutely slurped off by this shark.
Yeah, we get slurped off. Obviously, we don't see anything slurp them off. The camera's like flashing, so we kind of know, okay, at some point these pictures are gonna get developed.
Chekhov's camera's going off.
Chekhov's camera. I'm glad that obviously when we do get that, that's a big bloody hell. You could drink Jules out of house and home with that. with that. When I'm glad that when the photos do get developed, we don't just see it like coming towards
smiling.
Coming towards the screen. I'm glad it's a bit more. See, that's why I feel like this film, even though it's thought of as like a bit of a cash grab and sort of not a great sequel, to which I think Steven Spielberg, didn't he just turn it down flat out? Just said, there's no way I'm going to make a sequel. Like sequels are lame. Yeah. He did make a Jurassic Park sequel, didn't he? He was behind the camera for The Lost World, and Schindler's List 2. No, he never did that. Any other sequels? Did he do any other sequels? No,
I don't do a Ready.
Maybe so. Might do a Ready Player 2. Don't do many now. But despite the fact that this film is thought of like that, I think it still took its time in some ways with some things, and made some pretty interesting, informed decisions based on sort of tension and that. It didn't just go straight in there sometimes. Like, it could have easily been the shark attacking the beach when Brody was like shooting at it, but no, it wasn't. So it was all some things I thought worked pretty well. The pictures is one of them, I believe. And then did we just get reintroduced to the family?
Yeah, we get up there and there's a big there's like a gala going on. There is a local businessman who has donated the princely sum of $1,500 to the local like school charity or like the local scholarship fund, and they are working on building a big hotel to attract more tourists to the island, to serve more tourists.
So it looks like they're like in recovery after all that shark attack. So they're really like, there's a bit later on where they're trying to sell Amity Island, not sell it physically, but like sell the idea of living on Amity Island to like this family.
Selling timeshares effectively. Selling timeshares. And the biggest businessmen are there selling timeshares on the island.
And Brody's wife like works for the
businessman, doesn't he?
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah. She works for the businessman. We see Brody himself turn up, and she's, I missed anything. So yeah, just pretend you've been here for ages. These guys are chatting on, and then the biggest failing of democracy ever committed to film, the mayor from Jaws remains the mayor.
Still got a job. He's still got a job, and he's learned nothing.
Re-elected.
This man has learned nothing.
And close the beaches. There's a proof of a shark. Well, I won't close the beaches. Other people die, and then he wasn't. Not only did he get to finish the term he was on, I assume at this point several years has passed. He's stood for another election.
It's the most realistic part of this film. The fact that somebody incompetent would be voted into a position of power and then re-elected despite showing that incompetence,
Yeah.
right?
You probably went, look, you either have stable amounts of shark attacks with me or chaos with my rival.
My rival, there'd be shark attacks, there'd be alligator attacks, there'd be bear attacks. At least with me, there'd be regular shark attacks. But
Yeah, and you know what to expect. You're not just going to go into chaos
yeah.
with this one.
But also, like
That guy, the mayor election campaign for Jaws 3 is not in it. It's not set in the same place, but would be like, well, say what you want about Larry Vaughn, but you got the big calls right. He
you got the
defeated.
sure.
He's made so
It's all
Jeremy
down to him.
Corbyn's not mayor of this island. All right, that's an excuse for being as shit as you want, is it, Larry?
it's he hasn't learned anything either, because even now when Brody goes, there's another shark, he's gone, there ain't gonna be another one. Do you know what I mean? Lightning don't strike twice, okay? There's no more sharks out there. I'll swim out there right now. Will you? No, I will not. And we're introduced to like a lot of young characters in this film, aren't we? There's like kids who are like at a dance, couple of right dweebs.
Oh yeah, this isn't the same thing. Like at this event, I guess it's at the school because the school band are playing and they're giving money to the school. So it's out there. There's like a couple of nerds that like have no confidence. It's like, oh, when will someone like me? And then there's someone else someone is trying to set up on a blind date with their cousin that's come in. And then there's the mayor's son is there, and Brody's son is there, both like 17 years old now, the older boys. They've got some other friends that are just around there, including my favorite character and namesake, good old Andy from this one. He's a jolly good friend in this.
Yeah.
And he uses a good tactic to get the kid away from being like catatonic.
Yeah. What does he do?
Well, like little boy goes catatonic after an event happens later on. He's just sitting there, non-responsively staring out to the sea as his boat sinks. And in a new quote that we're using regularly around the Conduit Turner house, is he goes, "Hey, you look at me right now, or I'm going to break your ass."
Oh yeah, he does say that. Don't blame him though. Terrifying.
say that all the time to people.
To everyone.
Yeah, no, just around the house. Karen shouted
just the
down.
Dogs.
Karen shouted down to me, "Do you want a cup of tea?" In a minute, I didn't listen because I was working. She texted me like, "Fucking listen right now."
Ignorant.
Break.
You ignorant bastard.
You're gonna break your house.
So there's a lot of like people introduced, like girls for the young fellas to be interested in. There's a bit of casual sexism, but it's shut down by one of the guys. And he says, "What are you, my mum? Don't tell me if I can't say."
Oh, that is it. Because we skip to the next morning and they're all getting together to go. She goes, "Oh, she's got
tits like sparrows."
Got
what the hell does that mean?
Yeah, they're planning this blind date, and it's not even his blind date either. He's just looking out, objectifying this teenager. I mean, she has gone sailing in what looks like a suit.
Yeah, that's true. That is true. It gave me flashbacks to Hostel when people were ogling women dressed in like as many layers as possible.
Just absolutely, completely normal clothes.
Yeah.
So
hang on a minute.
It's
when they got more clothes that I find it worse, because it just makes my imagination work overtime.
Just think, oh, but yeah, I'd be imagining taking those clothes off for 10, 15 minutes. Got to get the toggles.
And he says she has tits like sparrows. And I don't understand that. Do you?
Yeah, I mean, now, especially you said it in plural, I assumed he was comparing her to being like having the chest of a sparrow, which I guess is a small bird. And I imagine they're just quite like.
I understand people call like males, young males, like pigeon chested. That's something, isn't it? Where you're kind of like. Yeah. What's it? I just find it all quite confusing.
It means red bobs when you walk.
Comparing any body part to a small bird, I think is confusing. It's not going to get you anywhere.
Maybe we just don't understand, but maybe American sparrows, or at least the sparrows in Amity Island, are very different. They've got famously
Yeah, possibly.
More
But also,
boobs.
what's this guy expecting? You know, teenage. Do you know what I mean? What's he
Yeah.
expect? Who's he? What's he on about?
But his
The thing
mate
is,
does go,
though,
"Oi, don't you talk like
oi.
that?" And he goes, "Oh,
So he calls out toxic masculinity, not in a place of work, but in a place of leisure, boating.
yeah."
Um,
They're doing some boating. They've gone out sailing. We get almost like a lovely music video of them doing all sorts of shenanigans. They're in a water balloon fight out on the water. There's one guy trying to read his book and he just tosses it away in the end, going, "Oh, guess I'll just not
that's a
read."
library book. That's a bloody library book.
That's
For
okay.
God's
And
sake!
he tosses it into the boat. He's all right.
Oh, he tosses it into the boat. He's right.
He's like,
Um,
"Oh, yeah,
there is
can't
a.
read that anymore."
I did kind of think in this, and Brody even says it later. He's like, "Why is everyone obsessed with boating and getting on the water and being out in the sea?" And it's like, live on a fucking island, mate. What else do you expect?
Live on an island. There's just about Game Boy at this point. No, not even. It's just late
No,
70s.
seven is. Oh, there's nothing.
Yeah.
Um,
What
yeah,
you
but
got?
that's the thing. But I think even these days with games, like when people do live sort of on coastal areas, like everyone's loving it. Boogie boarding, wakeboarding, surfing, everyone loves it.
They love all the different seaside activities.
Yeah,
They're
hundred
doing they're
percent.
doing all of that. Yeah, it's just a little scene we all get. Everyone having a nice time. Brody's teasing his like assistant, going. They hear that there is a boat just afloat out in the water. It's those boat from those divers we saw earlier. Brody
Yeah,
doesn't know that though, so he sends out his assistant, a policeman who
this
loves the
this
boat.
assistant is a new character, right?
Yeah,
Yeah, a new character who's like, I guess, like his intentions are good, but maybe a bit. How would you describe him?
a little bit naive, a
Green
little
around
bit
the
like yeah,
gills, green
yeah.
around the gills. Is that a turn of
Does
phrase?
that mean
Have I
poorly?
used it right? I think it might mean poorly. He's a bit yellow bellied. That means like a coward.
Yeah,
You know what I mean?
he's a bit naive. But he wants and he loves the boat as well. He's like, "Hey, what are you doing on that boat?" He said, "Oh, this is my own time actually, just doing some boat tinkering." And he's got a
Yeah,
friend who's an old man that just
he's in
hangs
uniform, though,
out
isn't
with
he?
him.
Oh yeah, he's got a friend who's an old man, an old grumpy fella who's like
A seaman.
he's always complaining about being bored. This man, I'm dead bored.
Bored.
I'm so bored. What do you get on in the house then? For God's sake,
I don't know. I want to go in the boat. I want to be in here. Be bored. Um,
it's because he's going. I don't want to be at home with her indoors because she'll get me doing DIY around the house. Or
this is that.
maybe these two guys are in a relationship. Who knows? Who knows? All of these things aren't expressively said, so you can make any assumptions you like.
What we get now, though, while we're making those assumptions, is another scene. Possibly one of my favorites in the movie: the sharks' next attack. Um, so they're out there. There's some water skiing going on, and there's also some characters just watching it. There's a couple doing some snogging that see them out water skiing. There's an old lady
Oh
who's
yeah, doing some
very
snogging.
exclusive beachfront property. Her front
Oh
door
my
opens
God,
pretty much
yeah.
right onto the beach. My
Oh
goodness,
Jesus.
property prices nowadays.
I watched a bit of a show the other day talking about those little beach huts. What are they called? Like the
Oh, the
little
little things you in like Blackpool, right? The little cabins.
yeah, unbelievable the amount people would pay for them because you can't get a mortgage for them. You got to pay in cash, or not
Shouldn't that
maybe
should
not
keep the
cash.
prices down?
Super expensive, ridiculous.
Yeah, these little beach huts.
Hmm.
She's got like a beach 4-bed semi. Um, so she's looking at and watching them, but then we see closer inside the boat. The shark nudges the one girl who's water skiing into the water and gobbles her right up.
Well, this is the thing. Like, how fast is that boat going, and how fast is that shark supposed to be?
Slightly faster than the boat.
It's
He gets
ridiculous.
them. Maybe he comes in from the side. To be fair, um,
Yeah,
so
that's true.
he gets the at this point. Jaws 2 is very careful to make sure they don't get caught and ousted as there being a shark here early on. They need to try and
Yeah.
discredit Brody first, so he eats her up very carefully.
I feel like, and I mean, after watching shark exploitation as well, like some of these shark movies do follow a very specific formula, which is even if there have been a history of shark attacks before, whoever's the first person to like witness the shark or be convinced that there is a shark without any physical evidence, they're always thought of as being he's a nut job, he's off his
He's a
head,
bloody
or
lunatic.
he's been on a
Surely
sauce.
there's not a shark in that place where there's proven to have been a shark previously.
Yeah, but the thing is, like, as a sequel, like you can understand it in the first movie, of any franchise, but for it to be a sequel and some of the same characters, and to still believe that everyone's going to be like, no, what are you on about?
Of course
It's
not.
kind of mad. It's kind of
Not
mad.
believing people, especially not like the chief of police. Not even that. But before we get to that, there's a second death. So after the girl's been gobbled up who's been water skiing, the shark
Yeah,
rams Jaws 2 rams the speedboat that this woman's in.
bloody hell, Jules too.
And she comes up with a rather unorthodox method to defend herself, and that she raises a can of boat petrol. Rather than dousing the shark in it, she lifts it up above her head and spills it all over herself.
What
And then
I,
thinks,
I feel like you can watch this from two different angles. You can watch it thinking she's trying to use it as a bludgeoning object for the shark, or she's trying to chuck the gas or the.
I think she's trying to bludgeon him with it, and then she holds it up above her head, unfortunately.
Well, you can
And
watch it as that she's done that on purpose as well. You can watch it.
just,
She's going, "You won't want to
oh,
eat me because I'm gonna bloody stink."
or just like, oh no, my greatest fear, being killed by a shark. There's only one way to do this. And then
Oh
after
yeah.
pouring petrol over herself in the boat, she goes, oh, fuck it. I mean, I've used that item. What's next? Let me try the flare gun.
Oh
And
God.
trying it basically explodes the entire boat and herself, and a bit of Jaws 2's face.
And a bit of Jaws 2's face. It burned up her perfectly good trousers as well. Don't notice we got a shot of that. Her lovely white denim slacks get burned. And yeah, the boat just explodes. And then we see the reaction from obviously the couple on the beach and the old lady as well.
Like she tuts and goes in like she's annoyed.
Oh, bloody! I'll tell you what. I was enjoying the nice, calm serenity
Of
of staring,
speedboat
of,
noise.
of staring out to sea and watching someone ski, and they've only gone and exploded themselves.
Yeah. So they explode themselves out in the middle of the sea. They call Brody, they call the police, and they go to check it out.
So yeah, it's not. Nobody thinks even for a second that a shark's involved at this point because the people who witnessed it were too far away to see what happened. And of course, the boat exploded. Everyone involved is dead. So they just think tragic boating accident.
They've been obliterated, but they do try and find the bodies. So the deputy is out there looking. Brody has him trawling the thing, and they do come across, while they're doing some trawling on the ocean floor, they do briefly unearth Chekhov's power line.
Oh yeah, Chekhov's power line. Enjoyed that.
They put it back in. Won't come out till later. Don't worry about it. Try not to think about it.
Try not to think about it. I'm still thinking about the camera from scene
Brody
one.
Goes and, along with many cigarettes, tells his son, "Hey, something shifty going on here. It might be a shark, actually. So you."
I feel like Brody is just anything that happens, he's blaming a shark. What's happened? Smashed a plate in the kitchen. What do you reckon? I reckon it's bloody Jules again. Jules is here somewhere.
He's done it. He's on the Orca when I was on there. All the plates got smashed. It fits his MO.
It fits his MO. They did all get smashed.
Yeah.
Oh wow, yeah, he's blaming Jules for everything, and he calls him the Jules. Jules from Jules.
Everything that goes wrong in his life. One day, Mrs. Brody, having not had an affair in this one, is interested in some sexual relations with him, and he goes, "I just can't tonight. I'm too tired." What's that? It's the bloody shark. Jaws.
I've been knackered thinking about bloody Jules all day long. It must be hard, though. I feel like you would genuinely like serious PTSD from that scenario. Did you notice as well? So I saw this and I was a bit like, oh, is that a little Easter egg? And I had to Google it to make sure I hadn't just imagined it. On Brody's front porch, there's a flower planter painted bright yellow. It's one of the barrels from the first film.
Yeah, I read that. That's good, isn't
Did
it?
you read that? I,
Good little
I had
bit
to,
of
I had to give that a
trim
little.
little Easter egg.
I had to give it a little Google. It was when they came out. You know when he came out and he kicked over the kicked all the cans out the way.
Yeah,
For some reason, I was just looking at the background in that.
kicked all the
instance.
tinnies when there's the chief of police. He does some lovely drink driving later.
He does some lovely drink driving. Now he's done some lovely littering. No
Yeah.
wonder you're losing your job.
And
Shooting a
also,
school of fish.
kicking it all over your own lawn. You have to clean that up eventually at some point.
No
Made it harder.
respect.
But,
No respect, even for yourself.
He
Brody.
doesn't get drunk at the minute. Right now, he just bans his son from going outside and says, "Right, no sailing, mate. I need to go and tell the mayor that there could."
Oh. Then he says, "Oh, no." He says, "No sailing." And he goes, "Dad, I've got a date." And he goes, "She'll understand." And he still moans. And he goes, "God, you're killing me here."
Oh, and I've got you a job painting the toilets.
Oh yeah. While everyone else goes out on the sea, having a whale of a time. You're gonna paint these toilets for me, okay? That's it.
Yeah.
I understand his pain as a daddy though, because he doesn't want much. He doesn't want much. He wants don't go on the sea, right? There's a shark out there, okay? Now I know for some reason you've got it in your head that 3 years ago it was all in my imagination, but it happened, and I'm still worried about it. So for God's sake, please don't go out on the sea. That's all I want to do. All I want to do is the one thing that you don't want me to do.
Only thing. I went, do cocaine if you want. No.
Do cocaine. Go joyriding. I won't call it in.
I've actually been to the future and invented Mortal Kombat 2 as an arcade cabinet here for you. Do you want to play that? No. The sea.
I'm not interested. So shit. I want to go to the sea and
it's boring. Is that the old man?
The old man would love Mortal Kombat 2 because he is dead bored. So yeah, not long after this is a killer whale carcass is found on the beach. It's found by that couple. They're running around having a good time. They don't actually see it until they're pretty much on top of it. Like, ah!
That would stink to high heaven. There is no way that you wouldn't be like, "Oh, this beach reeks."
Also,
yeah,
don't want to throw cold water on this film so far. But killer whale, is that from the same sort of part of the world?
Both in the sea.
yeah. I always remember like hearing that because there was always like a killer whale and a great white shark, and then I remember reading that they would never end up in the same seas together. Maybe I've just completely made that up.
Is it like penguins and polar bears?
Yeah, possibly, but I might have made it up, so just feel free to forget.
I think there are. I don't know if it's great white specifically, but I know that there are orcas that specifically hunt sharks, kill them.
Oh, okay. Well, orcas are kicking off right now, aren't they? Attacking expensive yachts.
Good.
All together. Yeah, they've all decided. They've just got together and they've said, you know what? We've had enough.
Sick of it.
I'm sick of it. These yachts are going down. But like all in different areas.
Add this to our film slate. So, we've got like Boo Year's Eve. We've got like Surf's Up Cthulhu, and now there's already been Orca. How about orcas? And the S, we put a $sign in there, just like when they made Aliens. All them orcas taking out the
or a Z. Yachts. Put a Z on it, and it'll be them taking out. They're really cool. I googled it, and the first story is 2 orcas slaughter 19 sharks in a single day in South Africa.
Yeah. But maybe they've seen a copy of Jaws 2 and they've thought, right.
Yeah, apparently orcas do attack and eat great white sharks, and they just eat the livers.
Yeah, find them to be delicious.
Bloody hell, they like
Hannibal Lecters.
Little Hannibal Lecters. Terrifying, aren't they? Everyone thinks, oh, aren't they lovely? No, they're terrifying.
Cinema has had the opposite effect for orcas as it did for sharks. Obviously, sharks, we got Jaws, they became scary, they became something to be feared in the sea. Orcas got Free Willy all of a sudden.
Yeah, I bet deep down, if sharks knew, they'd be like, excuse me? The thing is, right, sharks, you're vilified in all media as being terrifying killers. Oh, right, okay. I suppose maybe sometimes some of us have earned the thing on but orcas are thought of as lovely, carefree, and family friendly. What? They're literally they're 100 times worse. No.
And they're clever. They do all sorts of like tricks.
And they're
Like
clever.
you'll see them like when there's animals that are on ice, they will like try and tip it up so they can like knock them into the sea and eat them up.
Yeah. Sharks can't do that. They are
Yeah.
bigger as well than sharks as well, aren't they? Even
Yeah,
like
they're
great
massive.
whites. They're absolutely mahoosive. Terrifying. So the body of the orca is on the beach with big old nasty chunks ripped out of it. And of course, now Brody is pretty much convinced, isn't he? He's like, oh, something ain't right. Something ain't right. I'm feeling it in my waters. He believes that shark is responsible.
He's taking the evidence. He's looking at. He's getting the teeth measured and the bite measured. I'm gonna find out if this is a shark.
Gone right. I believe a shark's responsible. Okay, Brody. I'm gonna listen to you what you're saying, but there was a mugging last week, and you said a shark was responsible. So we're taking it all with a pinch of salt. So there's a woman here who's like an expert, right? There's like yeah. Why didn't
That's
she
in this one scene and then never again.
Yeah, why didn't she turn up? So she goes, first things first, let's measure it. So yeah, he explains his concerns to Mayor Larry Vaughn, who again is doubting it, and it's because he's got people there buying timeshares and stuff. He's almost like, be bloody cool. For God's sake.
Just be quiet, be quiet. Like, don't cause a scene. And the next day, what does Brody do?
Oh well, no,
does
he find the body first?
He
finds the burnt body first. So you see some like floating debris in the sea. And
I feel so bad because he has to get so wet to go and get it. He's trying to will it to come closer. He's like, all right, I better wade into I better wait. Like he takes his shoes up and rolls up his trousers and just walks into like waist deep water.
And he's obviously scared because he thinks if I go in too far, that shark's gonna know I'm here and he's gonna get me, even in like waist deep water. But he makes a pig's ear of this, which is trying to grab a piece of speedboat. It's like, whatever you do, don't end up being basically coming face to face with a burnt body and having it basically drown you.
It was flipping out of the thing. It's like when the woman's in the coffin in Drag Me to Hell, where like no matter what, like it's further on top of him. It's like,
and he's like, he goes underwater and everything.
Its face is on it, like it's got its lips over his chin.
It's horrific, and obviously, I'm not surprised that he's fuming about it. So this is when we find out he tried to call Matt Hooper for assistance, but he's in Antarctica, and doesn't he say something like he's on research and he's not going to be in radio, he's not going to be in
until summer.
Oh my God, what if you had an urgent message for him? Have you got an urgent message for you? Yeah, I'll probably get it next August.
Yeah, and I can't turn you back. So he's out of the picture. He's not going to be in this one.
And I think the next scene is now when Brody has gone full not panic, but full like, I know there's a shark out there and I'm gonna find it. So he's like full observation mode.
Not only he gets up early and makes himself some special cyanide coated bullets.
He's like, I can't bloody wait.
Can you imagine use cyanide bullets? The shark might go, oh, I've been shot. Oh, but it's okay. I'll probably be okay from the bullet injury. And then the cyanide works its way, and you're like, ah,
what's wrong with me?
Fox
could have spat him out.
So
he's up there. Fox died. He's up there, and obviously the mayor and also another bloke are like, they're treating him like shit, to be honest, aren't they? So what's he doing up there? He's just out there looking for a shark to make sure everyone's safe. Bloody hell! You know what? He's a bloody nutter.
These guys don't know anything about marketing, like because they made it extra embarrassed because the little girl goes like, "Hey, what's that man doing up in that tower?" And they go, "Oh, he's just checking." And then someone else goes, "It's a pretty shark tower, isn't it?" You'd say, "Yeah." The chief of police, the most senior policeman on this island, likes to take a look out to make sure there are no sharks, which there aren't.
Yeah. But it's kind of ridiculous. And of course, he's having a look out and he sees a big shadow moving towards. There are loads of people in the sea. He sees a big shadow moving towards him, and I can't blame him. You know what I mean? I feel bad, but at the same time, I can't blame him. And he sort of rings the bell, starts shouting everybody out the water, everybody out the water. Maybe this is one step too far. However,
waving your gun around in people's faces,
waving your gun around,
Firing-
everybody's screaming.
firing bullets like, with special like cyanide coatings on them just into the sea. And this guy's like, it's bloody bluefish, mate, bluefish.
Yeah, and the guy starts shouting bluefish. And I do like this moment when he realizes, because I like how he confirms to everybody else, don't worry, everyone, it's just bluefish. Like,
waving his gun, get back in the water, go back in.
Get back in the water and have fun, will you? Enjoy yourselves.
Just
relax. Pointing a gun at their face. Relax, will you? Relax.
Yeah. So he's
enjoying
doing
yourself.
That. And then the mayor and everyone else is like, oh, for fuck's sake. And then Brody's hanging on by a thread. The guy who works at the 1 hour photo place comes back and says, got those photos developed. And it does look like there's a very close-up picture of the shark, like a doll's eyes, black.
I mean, it does look like that, but no one is convinced. And obviously, everyone is just convinced he's like overreacting and he thinks everything's a shark. But
it's especially one of those things, right? Because it's like also the people with a vested interest in there not being a shark are all the people on the council.
Yeah, it's annoying though, isn't it? It is annoying, but again, realistic, isn't it?
Yeah. And also, based on what we know from Jaws, there was the meme going around that week about, I felt old before, but I've never been as old as the mother of the 8-year-old from the Jaws movie.
Like 70.
Yeah, but the same is true. I imagine these are like young business entrepreneurs, movers and shakers. So there's that two major. So Larry the mayor is there, and the businessman that we know, but then also some very elderly people.
Yeah. There we go. That's how
they
it
go
goes.
for a meeting in another room. They go, "Oh, can we just have a look at these pictures and have a chat about it amongst ourselves, and we'll decide what we think of them." And the next thing you know, Brody is coming into the house, fucking blasted.
Absolutely blasted, because he has been officially outed as police chief, right? They just go, we vote, and we think you're not. What did they really give a reason?
No, just go, you say there's a shark and we don't agree, so you're fired. So he's out as the chief of police, and
seems very harsh.
He gives his deputy, who's gone round to check in because he's heard the news, he gives him the badge. He's quite nice about it, and
they're still mates, aren't they? These two,
they're still friends,
despite this stuff. He's like, oh, it's out of my hands or whatever. But it does seem harsh, considering he did save the town from one killer shark, and now he's like, and there's another killer shark, and they've gone. The thing is, he's not been given any decent mental health care, has he? Like, he's clearly going through PTSD, and they've just gone, get over it, for God's sake. Not everything's a shark.
Just pretend there's not another shark, like the rest of us do. All right,
like the rest of us. I'm convinced. What you should do, instead of being like traumatized, have you tried not being traumatized? Do you know what? I haven't.
Have you tried just not thinking about sharks? Oh, now you put it that way.
Yeah, I guess so.
I guess I could just not think about sharks. But he hasn't got that piece of advice. So he's being real stressed out about sharks, and they've canned him for it. And the response is absolutely blasted. And what I love most about this one? When he goes round and he says, "Come on, everybody, let's have a toast. I see you're drinking the good stuff." You know what the bottle of the good stuff is?
Go on.
Standard bottle of Jack Daniels.
You're drinking the good stuff. Oh, well, old Jack Daniels, number 10. Yeah, it's lovely.
Oh, I don't usually drink it myself, but it was Christmas quite recently. Got a little bottle.
If he got that smashed, how many cigarettes do you reckon he sucked down in that time?
He's been like a bloody chimney. He's been absolutely.
If he chain smokes around the breakfast table, what do you think he does? I reckon he's one of those guys. He's always got one lit, and before he finishes another one, he's got the other one lit, ready to go. So he can just do a seamless changeover.
He's like that scene from Gremlins where there's just one with like several in their mouth all at once.
Outstanding.
Yeah, so he's
bloody standing.
He's lighting up all over the place. He talks to his deputy and he's like, "Yeah, now you're the chief, mate." And then he just he's there. And he's not an unpleasant drunk. He's clearly drunk, but he's not like violent or like angry about it. He just goes and sits with Ellen and goes, "Oh, I'm just really, really tired." And she laughs and sort of said, "Oh, you're very, very drunk," as he sort of passes out lying on her.
I've just remembered a bit from earlier when they were dancing at the opening of the hotel, and he goes like, "Oh, do you want to come and fool around?" And she's like, "Yeah, why not?"
Do you want to go cop off up on the bike sheds? As
Got to cop off right by the bike sheds? Yeah. But when you're doing it, don't think of me as a shark, okay? Not even for a second. I'll try. I know. Oh, you find it difficult? Yeah, I do.
Yeah, that's what Brody's trying to do. Like he's trying to make things last a bit longer in the bedroom, thinking about Jaws 2.
It's made him hornier, if anything.
What's gonna put me off this moment? I know. Think about Jaws 2. Think about the terrible trauma. And that time on a boat that's split in half and you almost fell into a shark's mouth after watching a man that actually happened to him.
I tell you what wouldn't help, having the yellow barrels as planters outside your house. That wouldn't help. Remind you every day as you come in and out of that house. Not the yellow barrels.
That incident I almost died during. And the man that I knew from around the town did die in.
Good. So yeah, the next morning, Mike disobeys his father's orders by going sailing with his friends, and his younger brother Sean, like, comes out, probably tries to grass him up. He goes like, "If you don't take me with you, I'm just gonna shout your name." And he does shout his name, but no one seems to hear. Yeah. No one seems to pay attention. Obviously, Dad's asleep because
he's fucked up and he's hammered.
He's hammered. He's passed out. So
and also, like the little kid, like tells his brother that he's gonna. It's not that he isn't prepared for this, because as soon as Mike says he can come, he steps out the room and he's literally holding a life jacket.
Yeah, he's ready to go, which is good. And
Sean has got big rat energy. He like basically is going to wheedle on his brother to get his own way.
And loads of them go out. There's like 6 separate boats, isn't there, in total, with all the teenagers.
And it's this new blind date girl that's tempted him, because in the pub the night before, Mike's like, actually, I've got a job, and my dad, the chief of police, is going to absolutely do me if I take the cat. And she's like, do you always do what your parents tell you to? And he's like,
well, I usually do when there's been like shark attacks and stuff.
In matters concerning giant sharks, bearing in mind my dad is the only person on this island who's killed one. Yes.
Yeah, exactly. But no, he's like, screw it, let's go. And they all get on the boats,
and they all go out.
As they're sort of like sailing out as well, they go past this team of divers, led by an instructor who's like also their teacher. Is that right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
because he says something like, "Oh, where are you going?" And they go, "Get us some bloody lobster on the way, you knobhead." It's like because they're on a boat like a few meters away, they've got like all the guile in the world to just go, "Screw you, Tom Andrews, you bastard!"
You drown. Aren't you at school? And it's like, no, it's summer holidays.
Summer holidays. Where are you? Why aren't you in school? It's like seeing if you ever saw a teacher in like the supermarket.
Still call them sir or miss. All right, sir.
All right, sir. What are you doing in here?
Shopping, are you?
Shopping, are you? What, eating normal food like the rest of us? Pot noodle, is it? Absolutely. Yeah, I've recently divorced.
The ultimate combo of that, where you just don't know what to do. Like, what if you meet a teacher outside school at the supermarkets? Yes, but you happen to be with your parents at the time. Like, impromptu parents' evening. You'll be like,
he's doing great. I will let you know he is doing great. It's not officially a parents' evening, but he's doing absolutely great. Or if you see a teacher, male or female, and you see them with their partner out in the wild.
I know. It's like these forbidden secrets as well, like knowing what a teacher's first name is.
Oh yeah, absolutely forbidden.
Tell you what, once I was I think I'd been given like some admin task to do by like one of the teachers or something. Like, I'll like come and just grab this photocopy and for me, like, you boy, come and grab this photocopy that I need to do it. And then in like the Reaper graphics room, like where like the one school photocopier was that you had to take it down to give to the person who was the photocopy attendant / school nurse, Not that budget cuts were a thing in that day and age, but they were. So you had to take it down to, and then there was a note on there that was like I don't know, they things, and it was all of the heads of year for our school, like with their first names in it as
Oh
well.
shit!
Fucking hell, learning all that information at one.
Wow.
Thought it was like the
Yeah.
shadow broker for a few minutes. I was like, you need information, do you?
I got the information for you. I remember
Do you
there
know?
was
Do you know the head of year 7? Yeah, it's
there
pretty.
was a. Do you know sometimes there's a someone who goes to your school and they only turn up for like a couple of terms and then they vanish into thin
Yeah.
air. There was a guy, he was absolute nut job, right? And I remember literally one day out of nowhere in computer technology, a teacher, I won't give you a second name, but a teacher was like leaning over him and like talking to him, and he literally turned around and went, "Jesus Christ, Dave, your breath stinks like coffee." In fact, I think he said dog shit and coffee. But all of us were just like, "Oh my god!" He first named him and told him his breath stinks. That is the ultimate disrespect. And obviously, he got like sent out of class or whatever. But then he vanished after a couple more weeks. So I reckon they probably killed him.
That teacher probably went to the rest of the school board and went, "It's Jaws 2. He's sabotaging my lessons."
He's sabotaging my bloody lesson.
The head teacher, Larry Vaughn, who hasn't been sacked somehow, despite the fact there's been loads of shark-related killings at the school the previous year, was like, "I don't believe you, mate. I don't believe you, Dave. And your breath does stink of shit and coffee.
And your breath does stink of shit and coffee. Go and brush your teeth, for God's sake." So yeah, what happens next? So well, Tom's submerging. I don't know why he's insisting on doing a bloody dive around about this time. He obviously don't believe there's a shark for a second.
He's told those kids to get him some lobsters. Get us some bloody lobsters, will you? Do mine with butter.
Oh, fuck off, shove it up your ass. And while he's down
in school time now. Fuck off.
I'm in school time now. I can tell you all little pricks. And when he's down there, he encounters a shark. Doesn't get bitten or anything, but he like rushes to the surface and gets what's it called?
Scares him so much that he gets the bends.
He gets the bend. He gets the bends on the way up. Oh, you're right. I've only got the bends on the way up. I'm absolutely.
I always imagine that if you get the bends, you look like the cover of that Radiohead album.
Or like Crash Test Dummy or something.
Yeah.
Well, are you all right? No, I've got the bends. Are you sure? Yeah, I'm sure.
Or the only sound you can make is like Radiohead.
What, like a Tom York whale or something?
Yeah.
I reckon a Tom York whale. I reckon sharks and whales would probably understand it.
You open your mouth and all that comes out is bing, 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 bing. What?
And then your helmet starts filling up with water.
Yeah. That's okay because it goes. It's okay because it goes up slowly for him. If you're right.
That's horrible. Every time I see that video, I panic. I panic like this guy, like Tom Hendricks. Tom Andrews. What have I called him?
Tom Hendricks. Do you try and
hold your breath and hold your breath?
Hold your breath for as long as the song goes. A bit like watching that Cheltenham and Gloucester advert where that little boy goes for the pearls.
Yeah, but it got slowed down, didn't it? Apparently, so if you hold your breath, you're an idiot. Because apparently that's it. They slowed down that particular bit. Yeah, exactly. And he's also like singing along to the song in that video as well. And I always think, how can you hear it?
Sound conducts well underwater.
That's good. Yeah, it's true. It's true. I go for a Monday swim, and there's like a team of people doing their what's it called when they swim underwater, dancing, synchronized swimming.
Just Radiohead, just being lowered into the water.
They play the song over and over again, and it's proper annoying because you're like swimming for 45 minutes or something. If I have to hear Bruno Mars underwater for one more minute.
It's about space. It's the opposite of water. If you want to do a song for underwater dancing, you should be doing music by
Under the Sea.
Yeah, Under the Sea.
Sebastian.
Or you do Sebastian. Or
Sebastian.
What else could you do? The music. Seal. You do some of his songs.
Kiss from a Rose is a banger.
Yeah. I'd go personally for the one that's like, if you're going to do an underwater routine, you're going to want to go for ding ding ding. Oh
yeah, I mean, that's got some great percussion in it. You could really
Yeah.
move along to that.
We
It's
did
not
that
too fast.
my year seven dance thing, because
Solitary
you had to
brother.
go and do
Is that it?
rotations, do all the things. Yeah. And we had to do a dance to that song.
Oh my god!
Being
Please tell me.
11-year-old boys, it involved lots of like walking in a square. But
Is there a video footage of this, Andy? There's got to be.
nah. It was
And it,
when I
hang on a
was
minute.
when I was
Dancing
at
to Solitary Brother with not on your own. Interested.
yeah. Maybe
Right. So
maybe it was an irony, but they're not doing that.
no.
He's just diving and he's got the bends, which is again the shark is still doing a very good job of covering its tracks because Brody goes, "I'll tell you what, let's go." They see the ambulance pass and they go, "Oh, let's see what's going on with this thing, eh?" And this
Yeah, and
guy,
again, he's obviously got the bends and he can't communicate. He saw the shark, so they're just like, oh, he's only gonna got an
he's just lying
embolism.
there like,
It's like, geez, he's acting it out. He's like going, like, oh, doing a little shark fin. Head is like a shark's fin, and they're going, it could be anything.
Listening to LL Cool J in this boat, no wonder you.
It could be anything. So yeah, he's good at covering his tracks. This bit now where like the shark just starts attacking the boats and like people are falling in left, right, and center and getting separated and boats are capsizing. I don't know. This was the part of the film where maybe I'm supposed to be the most interested because the shark's going crazy and attacking everyone. I don't know. During this bit was the bit when I started getting a little bit disinterested.
Kind of where you lose it a bit, right? So yeah, we get one boat has been a little bit delayed. It's that couple we saw snogging earlier. And for a moment, I had mistakenly thought that this was the mayor's son. And in many ways, the bitter irony that your own son's going to be eaten by this shark. But it's not who dies, it's just a normal kid.
Yeah.
He gets sort of biffed off the boat because he's just actually, they'll be like, hey, we're falling behind. And then he's like, but do you fancy a little bit of ocean sex? He goes, well, put a blanket down because my ass is getting well bruised if I'm asking questions.
Chafing.
Yeah, and he goes, all right, I'll put a blanket down. And then as he's just laying it out, typical, just in the middle of a delicate job that requires a bit of finesse, someone comes and knocks you. Yeah. And the shark biffs him into the water and
but there's a lot of biffing into the water.
Up.
So he gets chombled, then he gets mauled to death. Eddie, isn't it? Is
yeah.
he when that was when he was like trying to swim back to the boat for ages?
Yeah.
Is that him? Yeah.
Yeah, he's like,
and he was further away every time the shot like cut. It like he was about 5 feet from the boat, and then it cut away, and he was 50 feet away. And then he's like, "What's going on?"
You would just say, "Just keep drifting away because you've got better odds."
Yeah, exactly. But he tries to outswim a shark, which obviously never works out, and he gets chomped up. And then this is when they basically find Jeff Hendricks tells them that Mike and everybody else has gone out on the water. So he kind of like says, "Oh, they've all just gone out on the boat. Yeah, legendary." And he lists them all, and only lists Brody's son or sons at the end of the list. So he goes like, "Yeah, Andy, Jackie, Eddie, Paul, Tom, Michael. What? Yeah. Oh, Michael. Oh, Mike." And he goes, "Oh yeah." And then they go,
and your other younger kids with him as well.
Oh yeah, this is confusing, right? Because there's a moment earlier where Brody like looks in on the bedrooms, smoking a tab, obviously. As he opens one, obviously Mike's gone, and he kind of smiles at it. And I had to rewind it because I was like, oh, has he left like a little Mike-shaped thing in the bed to try and make it look like he was still there? But no, he didn't. But why does no one care where the younger kid is? Or do they just assume the younger kid's
they just assume he's out playing? Isn't there a babysitter that turns up and is like, just let him do whatever today?
Let him eat what he wants, but not candy, is what they say as well.
Not candy. So all the foods apart from that entire group of foods.
Yeah. So yeah, what happens next? So yeah, they basically take a boat to go out and like rescue him. Hendricks comes as well. Initially, he's like, "No, that's my boat," but then he goes, "All right, then they can't fire us both." So yeah, he's almost like trying to say we shouldn't be getting involved.
I'm on board with this now. Fuck the mayor. Let's get on.
Absolutely, fuck the mayor. And they find Tina on her own in what's Tina's boat called? Tina's Joy.
Yeah, Tina's Joy, and she's hiding in the like. She's done the best hiding. The
Oh
shark's
yeah,
never going to find her in there.
no, it's already climbed up and gone. Where is she then? And she obviously says there's a shark, and Brody just goes like this, bloody told you!
He's like the
Told you all.
Captain Holt gift, vindication.
Yeah, exactly, 100%.
He quickly erupts out, and then like he gets a pot of paint and like changes the name of the police boat instead of like Amity Island Police, but like Police Launch #1. He like changed it to the Vindicator.
The Vindicator, and then put sunglasses on. He's like, right, that shit. Come here, you little son of a bitch. He likes calling sharks son of a bitch.
You son of a bitch.
Son of a bitch. You come here and take a bite of this, you son of a bitch.
And then they beep the horn, having found the girl on there. They beep the horn at another boat, and they go, "Oh, someone's coming. All of you get on this boat and go back to the island with them. I'm going to go solo in this boat that I can barely drive."
Yeah, that sounds great. Brilliant. He's the white savior, isn't he, Brody? He's like, right, I said, let everybody else listen. He knows that there's going to be a moment where he drives back with them all saved, all of them going, there was a shark, and he'll just go like that. Yeah, fucking eat shit. All of you, give my job back immediately.
Yeah, and that's when I would be so petty. I would have I'll come back. I guess he has to go and save his own sons, but you would go and say, and that's why I thought for a second when I thought it was the mayor's son that had been eaten, I was like, oh, in many ways, sad that anyone's son gets eaten by a shark, but serves you right at the same time.
It wasn't. It wasn't, though, was it? No,
it isn't his son. It's just
which one was his son?
Larry, because it's Larry Jr. So this is the one that is.
Oh yeah.
They're fighting earlier on.
Curly-headed ninny muggin? No.
Yeah, it is. You're a curly-headed fuck.
Curly-headed fuck. So yeah, what happens next? So right now, he also gets on the blower to a helicopter, doesn't he?
Yeah, he goes, "Oh, send his helicopter out, will you?" That was before he even thought there was a shark. That was just when he was pissed off.
Yeah,
and he even gone out without permission.
He even calls up to follow it up. He's like, "Are you in the sky or what?" He's like, "Nah, I'm just having a little coffee. I'm around the local McDonald's, having a little coffee. Get yourself up in the air. Come and say
on with it." So they're off. He's sending them out. At this point, the helicopter does see them. He goes, "Oh yeah, they're over here. Actually, do you want me to?" But before they do that, actually, helicopter's just on the way. The shark comes and basically, in an absolute comedy of errors, fucks like every one of those boats.
Yeah, but this is the thing. Like, obviously, the shark's not hungry because it's not like it's killing people, not necessarily eating them. So it's just got a vendetta against anything that's in the sea.
It's out there. He's raging and he's knocking them all over. One boat crashes into another because they're all panicking. They're all off in the water, and they eventually manage to sort of lash the boats together. And there's a few boats all
Mike
equally
ends up
wrecked.
falling in, doesn't he? Mike falls in.
He gets a bash on the head.
Yeah,
slides in, but you get this is an area where several times you have to see people just get the legs out of the water in time before the shark gets them.
There's like a girl gets killed quite like horrifically.
That's the girl that while Mike is like, I don't want my little gross little brother on this boat. I'm trying to pull the suit wearing girl. And then there's
not her though, is it?
And there's like a nice friend who's like, "Oh, your little brother can come with me," just like a nice, but he's sensible, like the sensible girl. She is the Sue Panda of the group. And yeah, she's the one initially is fine like everyone else, but then at some point their boat goes wrong. They slip into the water. She saves little Philip, but is brutally eaten in front of him.
Brutally, and then her friend, the suit wearing one, like pretty much goes hysterical from that moment onwards. Which you would. I think you would. That's totally acceptable.
But not little Philip. He shuts down. He's like clinging onto the little rudder. Like,
wait, is it Philip? Is that his name?
The brother's name?
Sean,
not Philip.
For some reason I was thinking one of the others is called Philip. Who's that? I mean, to be fair, there are so many kids on these boats that it's
There are
almost
loads. Some of
impossible to
them
name
just
any
I
of
don't think
them.
ever have names.
No, some of them are like Nerd One, Nerd Two, Curly Headed One. Yeah, nobody knows. So they managed to like survive essentially, and they're kind of going towards like what is it? Just like a little random little island, a
Well,
little.
they're floating
Oh
towards
wait,
because
no,
all the
sorry,
boats.
the helicopter turns up first, doesn't it?
Yeah, the helicopter turns up and goes, "All right, lads, right, I'm gonna go and I'll tow you to the island, and then I'll send a big boat."
I mean,
Because there's
I didn't feel confident even for a second in what was happening there. Did you?
yeah, there's a little island called Cable Junction that basically that's the only place floating in that direction between Amity Island.
Yeah,
There's
that's where all the
Amity
cables
Island,
go.
Cable Junction, where all the cables go, Chekhov's cables, and then it's Ireland. That's next stop. Um,
Jesus, make sure you get all your business done here on Cable Island, Cable
go to the
Junction.
toilet on Cable
Go
Junction
to the
because
toilet here, get your snacks because the next stop is Ireland.
yeah, it's miles. That's well far.
So whereabouts is that Amity Island supposed to be?
I guess then based on that, like east coast of the US somewhere. I think it's a
Yeah,
off
New
state
York.
off New York, right?
Yeah, that's what I thought. Jaws locations where, well, obviously different places where. Yeah, it takes place in the fictional town of Amity Island in New York. So it's got to be like, yeah.
Yeah. So it's off New York, the mainland. But so the helicopter comes out and he goes, right, come on then, I'll send some help. And unfortunately, just as he takes off, the delicious chewy edge of the
Oh
helicopter
yeah, that does look
attracts
delicious.
Jaws too.
The chewy, inflatable, delicious orange flavored edge. I mean, I don't
And I
blame
guess
him.
the vibrations, because he's left the rotors running, have been like catnip to that shot. They've
Oh, yeah.
attracted him.
He was too confident though. The fact that he got out and was like shouting at them with a megaphone, like going, "Hey guys, it's me. I'm here to save you." I was like, no,
And
absolutely
just as
not.
he tries to take off, unfortunately, we do lose him. Jaws 2 comes up, bites the edge of the helicopter and kind of tips him sideways, meaning that deadly helicopter shrapnel is scattered into all of the boats and like
Horrific.
sinks them
Horrific.
all a bit more.
Yeah.
Um,
Well, apparently, I don't. Sorry, I don't know if you're going to do some trivia based on anything.
no,
So
please carry
forgive
on.
me for jumping in. Apparently, an actual hammerhead shark was circling these like wrecked boats when they were filming, and when they were like being scared and screaming and hollering at the production crew, when they were filming that particular scene from a distance, that was real. That was them going,
Oh,
"There's a
really?
fucking
That's good.
hammerhead shark over here, for God's sake!"
Oh, that's really good because we were laughing
Apparently,
at it, saying like, "What are they doing, jumping up and down, idiots? They're going to tip
yeah.
themselves in again."
Well, not just that. Like, I kind of thought they're being really loud. Like, I don't know. I'd be
Yeah.
like, that might cause, I don't know. Maybe
You got to
I don't
treat
know
them
if I'll
like a
threaten them.
tremors, don't you? You got to be
God,
careful.
you gotta be quiet, man. Yeah, exactly. So yeah, they managed to like get themselves like kind of close to Cable Junction Island by, I don't know how to kind of paddling
Yeah,
a bit, but then they get like
they
sort of.
paddle along a bit, but then they suddenly realize, "Don't put your hands in the water, buddy. Shark have them off."
Yeah, I think that's a good idea actually.
But just as they begin to give it hope that they're going to miss it, then along comes Brody in the boat. He's already passed Mike and one of their other friends earlier because he got a bang on the head. They took the one functional boat and decided to try and sail back.
Yeah, that's right. I'm still a bit
So
confused.
they've seen Mike, and I love this bit where they see him, and he's like, "Oh, Mike, thank God, are you all right?" And he's hugging his son, and he's like, "Oh, I did bring Sean with me." And he's like,
I did bring Sean me and happened to leave him.
he's like,
Yes.
"Yeah, I didn't mean, but I did leave him there." And his dad's like, "You know what? Good parenting." He's like, "It's okay, don't worry, I'll sort
Oh
it."
yeah, he does say that.
But I
And
reckon as
also,
soon as that kid is safe, that guy's fucking
come
bollocks.
here.
He's grounded forever.
He's absolutely raging as well, Brody, because he's not had a cigarette since he's been on the water. And I imagine a man who chugs them back like he does must be absolutely gasping.
We're just inhaling from the funnel of the boat.
So he manages to find all the others. He like pulls himself over, throws like a line over.
Immediately crashes the boat into the island.
Well, yeah, because the shark just comes out of nowhere, doesn't it? I think he's trying to like get away, but also like come back around, and he's just concentrating on the boat, concentrating on the shark, and then looks up and goes, "Oh shit, there's an island there," and smashes into it.
Yeah, he fucks it. He absolutely fucks it and smashes the boat. Bearing in mind he's not currently a policeman, so it's not his boat to smash.
Yeah, and you don't care. And he tries to like pull him in with like a winch, doesn't he? But that is when he hooks the underwater power cable.
Yeah, brings Chekhov's underwater power cable back up. And he knocks some of them in the water again, but they manage to just get to the actual island because they're within feet of it at this point.
Yeah.
So he gets in, and then he gets like a dinghy and a line,
like an inflatable raft, isn't it? Yeah. He's banging the cable with an oar to like lure the shark away from the kids towards him, and this is when we get another iconic. What does he say in Jules? Smile. What does he say?
Smile, you son of a... And then he does that's it. Because he fires. He fires. So basically he says,
son of a...
Smile, you son of an explosion.
Yeah.
Whereas in this one...
He's just saying, come and get it, you son of a bitch. Come and get me. Come and take a bite. Holding up the cable out of the water.
And he does a bit talk like Joe Pesci. Yeah, you son of a... You want to get some of this?
Why you oughta Why you oughta?
Talks like Muttley from Wacky Red. So yeah, he's like, "Come on, buddy, have some of this. Open wide, you son of a bitch!" And then he comes. And
this is quite good, you know. This is quite effective. I think there's no doubt in the fact that the shark is definitely dead as well. So we're literally watching it cook. It's on fire
for ages.
Electrocuted for ages. It's pretty nuts.
On the downside, though, there is probably no electricity on Amity Island now. Anyone in
forever?
You know that diver that went to the hospital, his life support machine off.
Oh god! Oh my god! Literally, we don't see it.
He's got embolisms for days now.
Oh, absolutely.
The surgeon's like, right, all I'll need is the right amount of light and concentration to be lightens up his slips.
Oh, the bloody bends, eh? The bloody bends.
Yep, the bends. So, but that's it.
That's it. We
end on that scene. The shark gets electrocuted and then falls to the thing, and they literally like, he killed it. Yeah. And then they just wait for a boat to come.
2 for 2. Brody a killer shark. If he so much as comes near a shark, he'll be dead immediately. He's an absolute legend.
And then Brody says, well, so much for Jaws 2, but I'm going to sit Jaws 3 out. And so he does.
And he goes, smile, you son of a bitch.
Whereas in the third one, there's no such dry action humor. It's more like, have a grenade.
Have a grenade. He does, he gets a job now as a photographer at a school. And then he's just smile, you son of a bitch, to every single kid. Smile, you son of a bitch. Yeah, so that's it. That's Jaws 2. And it's all right, you know. It's not terrible. I think it gets a bit of a bad rap, doesn't it? Have you got any name games? Not easy, is it?
So I've got some name game for you, and I've got one piece of trivia question for you. Do you like a bit of trivia to begin with?
Yeah, why not?
So for a time, Jaws 2 was the highest grossing sequel of all time.
Oh, wow.
Until it was knocked off that podium. By which film?
Gotta be Aliens, right?
Not Aliens.
Oh.
Before Aliens.
Before Aliens. Highest grossing sequel. Was there a sequel to Back to the Future before Aliens?
No. I'll give you a clue. It is for a sports related film.
Oh god. A sports related film?
Yeah.
About
a man on a crusade overcoming his own demons, if you like.
Jesus. What kind of sport? Or is that going to give it away?
I'll give it away instantly.
Instantly give it away?
Yeah, if I told you the sport it was about, you'd be like, oh, it's this guy.
Sports guy. I can't think.
It is
Rocky
2. Yes.
Oh yeah, no, I got there before you.
Got it there. He's early. Yeah, Rocky
Honestly,
2.
I was like, I went through every sport apart from any sort of hand-to-hand combat. Oh shit! Yeah, boxing's a sport. Forgot about that.
Right. Are you ready?
That's
then
interesting. Though. That's interesting. That's like high as high grossing as Jaws.
Yeah,
Or more.
overcame it. Let me give you though for now a little bit of. Have you got the synopsis to Jaws 2? For some
Yes.
game.
Police Chief Brody must protect the citizens of Amity after a second monstrous shark begins terrorizing the waters.
Okay, so Police Chief Brody is having real trouble holding together a relationship. His wife in this reality did leave with Matt Hooper from the last one. And she blames their breakup of their marriage on the fact that he sleeps so loudly, makes lots of a noise through sleep apnea and breathing difficulties when he's sleeping. And fortunately for Brody, he meets a new partner who also is a loud sleeper.
Snores 2.
Snores 2, that's right. Imagine a little romantic poster with those guys and their sleep apnea machines are like holding hands. Snores 2. Okay.
Well, I got one as well. If you want, if you want an alternate,
please do.
Apologies for this one. Okay, so Police Chief Brody must protect the citizens of Amity after a second monstrous shark attack begins terrorizing the waters. The first victim of which is a Scottish visitor to Amity Island who gets their testicles bitten off. How would a Scottish
gets his testicles bitten off?
Yeah, imagine a Scottish person saying, "Ow, my
balls."
Yeah, but a Scottish person would say balls, BAWS, like ball bag.
Ball bag, yeah.
Balls 2.
Balls 2. The Scottish was the way you pronounce that. That was going to be also be a
yeah.
Okay, so Chief Brody investigates some unusual activities on Amity Island when he uncovers a culture of people enjoying a classic campfire snack, but they only enjoy it not on the beach or by a campfire where they should be enjoying it, but in the cubicles of the toilets.
More s'mores, but like s'mores 2.
Yeah.
Lou.
S'mores Lou. Very good.
S'mores Lou. I like it.
You got any more for me?
Okay. Police Chief Brody must protect the citizens of Amity after a second monstrous shark begins terrorizing the waves. But first of all, he must sign a contract to ensure that he won't think everything's a bloody shark. But luckily, he misread a certain part of the contract, which did allow him to go and think that there's a shark knocking about. And it's on the second page.
Clause 2.
Clause 2. Clause 2 says, if you want, you can
Section
go and have
3,
a little
Clause
look.
2. Very
Section 3,
good.
Clause 2.
Speaking of which, there's a side character in that film that you were thinking of, actually, Ben. And in some versions, it's actually what the name is of the film is based on. Continuing the tradition of unusual animals on the island, there is also a marsupial. A marsupial that is so familiar with Brody that he speaks to it quite informally and just shortens its name, this marsupial. And this marsupial is an expert in all legal processes, so much so he has a name that is the title of this movie.
Is it Laws?
It is Laws.
Rue?
Laws Rue. Very good.
Laws Rue. I like it. Okay. We got one more then. Okay. So this film's only gone and been remade. Don't know if you heard about that. Not the first one. They've skipped over the first one because it's a classic.
Yeah, couldn't remake that.
So, but they've recast, obviously, Brody. Brody's played by a certain famous Jude, and they've also hired this person's sister to play his wife. A certain famous Jude.
So Laws 2. there are,
Laws 2. There's 2 laws in this
yep,
movie.
Laws
That's
2.
it.
Here's one for me. Chief Brody faces his most disgusting case yet when a new predator hits Amity Island. And it begins by just really chowing down on the sewage works.
A new predator.
Yeah, new predator. It's unknown what it is, but all it does is break into the sewage works and just chew up all the contents.
Jaws poo.
It's not quite what does it do with the poo.
Choose poo.
It's chewing it. It's another word for that.
I don't know.
He suspects from the way it's eating it, it might be a rodent.
Nose poo.
Norse poo. Very good.
Well, I like to think that you've written that down somewhere and with no context.
I have just written out several things on the thing. Yeah, that'll do for today. I think a little bit of name game. Send your own in if you like. Cut to the socials.
Good fun. It always seems like that's pretty much impossible to do, but that was fun, wasn't it? Okay, so there we go. That was that. Got to rate the film. Sometimes I nearly forget rating the film. I mean, I think it's perfectly all right. You know, obviously, it's nothing. It's not a patch on Jaws, but Jaws is like right up there as.
How do you top that?
One of the best. How do you top it? So, can I say B minus or
why not?
B minus possibly. I'd like to see what I did rate the original to try and give me an idea of this, but I think it's a perfectly adequate like shark film. I think if you compare it to the original, of course it is nowhere near it, but for just an adequate, enjoyable shark film, nice, good time. I feel, as I said, I feel like I'm on holiday when I watch it, even despite the people being literally murdered by a shark.
Perfectly legit scoring. I am going to go for a C plus this time. For those reasons you just suggested, really hard to top the original, and it lives in its shadow, but solid, enjoyable film. Might fall apart with some silly choices at the end as it begins to break down and the tension gives way to like ridiculousness, but found this perfectly compelling. The soundtrack does a lot of lifting. The moments of tension you get as someone's trying to get out of the water. I would be so petty if I had been Chief Brody and would have insisted I would only come back and help if the mayor had quit. But
it's fair enough, I think. Yeah,
a good, solid way to celebrate a Shark Week. And I've watched Jaws 3D. I'm going to watch Jaws: The Revenge again. Maybe, Ben, I'll watch Bates one more time.
Yeah, it's definitely worth a shout, isn't it? Okay, so thank you, everybody. Thanks for listening. If you enjoyed the show, become a patron over at patreon.com/horror hangout. Thanks to current patrons John Crinnan, Ben Scaife, Stephen Christopher, Toby Miller, Lane Spencer, Ollie Child, Leslie Carlo, Julia Bilger, Nick Spill, Troy Bush, Rosalind Harnias, and Pazuzu. Thanks to Taj Easton for our theme music. Thanks to Acast for hosting the show. Please consider giving us a rating or review and head over to the Facebook group, Horror Hangout Board of Advisors, for more. We're on Twitter, or is Twitter now called X? What's going on? Instagram, Facebook, and TikTok, for God's sake. Or just search Horror Hangout Podcast. You'll find us. Next week, we're discussing a new release, Talk to Me. Been hearing great things about it. Reviews have been really good. I'm looking forward to that one.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to Talk to Me very much.
And of course, thanks, Andy, for being a right horror dude.
Thanks to you, Ben, for being a right horror dude. We'd be remiss to say we've got a whole month of August coming up ahead of us. Fright Fest taking up the back end of it. Watch out on all of our socials. We're going to have bonus stuff. We're going to have free stuff that anyone can access as well as we build up the hype to Fright Fest coming up. It's like a Christmas countdown, which is a countdown that we'll do now ahead of another countdown as we head towards the back end of the year in Halloween. 99 days to Halloween as of today, by the way, Ben, a day of recording.
I know.
Yeah, so watch out for more bonus content. We've got more previews coming up. We're going to start looking at, we're going to be talking more about Fright Fest in the weeks to come. We're planning loads of really cool stuff. So come and join us for all of that. But in the meantime, stay out the water if you think the sharks. Otherwise, enjoy it responsibly.
Stay out the water. Stop chain smoking. Yeah.
Don't drink and drive, for God's sake. We didn't even touch on that. He drinks loads and drives home. Don't do that.
He thinks he's being chased by a shark. That's why. Even on the road. Right. See you next time.
See you later, everybody. Bye for now.